to the PC client. Let's get in.
Testing. There we go. I think now we have something, right? I'm sure you guys can hear this. I don't know why it always does this every single time it starts a stream, because I always do a test front. Technology will always fail you at the first time. Freaking horrible. So Taya is going to be joining us shortly. I'm going to do one more sound test, ladies and gents. Just bear with me. Enjoy the music, enjoy the with you. And I say, I just want one more sound test. I want to make sure that you're recorded and everybody can hear us. All right. I think we're good. I think the sound is good. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do this again. Welcome to the Players Circle. Glad to have you with us. And today, basically, we are going to be, if you saw the thumbnail, we're going to be specifically focusing on Xbox because Xbox always is the first one out the gate. They have their January, it's already around the 22nd. They have their showcase, or their developer direct, not showcase, developer direct, where they sort of give us a hint in terms of like some of the major games or major releases that are coming to their platform. I'm looking forward to that or discussing that with Kai. Specifically, I know Kai wants to talk to a couple of articles by Jace Gordon regarding some of the plans that Xbox has for 2026. But I want to know what you think in the chat. What do you think Xbox is got to offer this, or like what are they going to do this year? So the game that you are watching currently right now on the screen is Raven 2. It's a mobile / PC game. If you're on mobile, not so great on mobile, you will enjoy this game. It is one of those free to play, but like sort of like the gameplay is not great on PC, or even with controller. I really enjoy this game on mobile, but not so PC. All right, cool. So, guys, tell me what you think. Like, what are you most looking forward to the Xbox lineup this year? Say that my question was not. I asked this question to everyone. So, do you think, or are you interested? Oh, I see. Fuzzy, glad to have you. It's been a minute, man. The music is too loud. Okay. I forgot to put it down when I was testing. Okay, cool. That should be a little bit better, Fuzzy, right? So what I asked was that, is it still, Rachie, welcome as well. Glad to have you guys with. I just wanted to find out from you guys, is Xbox's showcase, is Xbox's developer direct, is it as important to you now as it was back in the day when Xbox was still competing against Sony in the console wars, right? Do you care that Fable is coming this year? Do you care that, I don't think we're going to see Gears this year, but let's say Gears is the secret thing that they're hiding that's coming up. Do you still care? Is that still important to you? And what else? Oh yes, Forza Horizon 6. Do you think, because they didn't, when they announced it, they said it's coming to Xbox and PC, they said nothing about PlayStation. Why do you think that is? When this year we are getting Halo Combat Evolved, and that is definitely coming to PlayStation. Ty is just joined us. I'm just gonna put him in the stream. Is it still as important?
What's up, man?
Yo, Ty. So, say something. There was a little bit.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. So, is it still as important to you guys whether or not we have these showcases? Do they matter as much as they did back, let's say, in 2022, 2021, when Xbox was still actively competing against PlayStation and Sony? Or is it just a relic of the past and it's just us going through the motions? I would love to hear your opinion. So Fuzzy says, Fable is my most anticipated game this year. Okay, wow, Fuzzy. I would love to know why. Is it because of the legacy that Fable has? Or is it because you think Playground can elevate that and take Fable to the next level? Remember, Fable was a little bit of a disappointment. Actually, it was not a little bit of a disappointment. I mean, everyone was disappointed in Fable 3. A lot of great ideas, horrible execution. That is why we haven't seen a Fable game up until now. Taye, welcome.
What's poppin'?
Glad to have you with us, and I know that you wanted to tackle the subject, and I want you to specifically, because I know you're the Windows Central guy and you're the Jez Corden guy. and you are just aching to go through that article. So I'm going to leave that up to you to take us through that article that sort of outlines what Microsoft has planned. Specifically, what I want to sort of like zone in on or talk about is I want to talk about little Jason Schreier, as Jeffy calls him. I want to talk about little Jason Schreier's little nugget that he dropped earlier this week about GTA, which I think is what everybody's talking about. That we might not actually get GTA 6 in May. There's been a lot of rumors that the game might have been pushed back, and I want to just dive deeper and just look at the details from little Jason Schreier as to why that is. Taye, welcome.
Awesome.
So I always ask you what you've been playing, but clearly recently you've been playing nothing. You fraud.
No, I haven't been playing anything, to be honest with you, until I get my my handheld gaming going on properly. I don't think I've been gaming for a little bit. I was tempted to do Clear Obscure recently. However, at the same time, I just didn't in the end. I just want a handheld game. I'm not interested in sitting down. I sit down all day and work. To sit down again on a PC or desktop, it's just not doing it. My mind isn't there yet, so I'm looking into handheld gaming, streaming, looking to get a tablet, anything really that allows me to stream video games to my device. Streaming is the future, boys. Get in now before it's too late.
Are you looking for one of these?
I wouldn't mind listen, if that device itself can has the right video codec that lets me stream at a high, fastest, at the best quality, then 100%, I'm down for it.
Yeah. But okay, explain the whole codec situation, because you did go into a lot of detail when we talked earlier about the whole codec situation and how that plays into how it affects how you game.
Yeah, so when you start looking into streaming, there's so many different elements. There's obviously are you using LAN, and the reason why you're using LAN is because it can get more data in. So then even your connection cord is actually probably important in that aspect. There's the refresh rate as well on the screen. The better the refresh rate, the higher it is, the more it reduces the lag. Are you connected to the Wi-Fi, or are you connected through a different third-party system like the PlayStation console? I don't think that one affects it too much. But the video codec is basically how, when you're receiving video feed, how do you compress it? The technology allows you to compress it a lot easier, which then allows you to kind of show it faster. At least that's what my understanding of it.
Oh, okay.
So some phones and some devices, they might have like video codec 1 or 2 or 3, but the new updated phones and tablets, they will have like a better version. So the thing is, like, as devices get like better, like streaming quality is like, it might be great for you already, but just on like a more powerful device will actually be able to do it even better. It's able to download that and change it from what it from what it is to the display on your screen. So what I've been seeing is that I bought a tablet that was $200 or something like that, and
US dollars or euros?
Sorry? No, sorry, $120 or whatever it is. And the tablet did well, but it was just 90 FPS. Sorry, refresh rate, so it's already down a notch. And when I was using it, it just wasn't as good as my mobile phone. Now my mobile phone is a OnePlus 11, which costs 1K. So
what device is that? Sorry?
And OnePlus 11.
What is that? Like, who makes that?
Oh, it's OnePlus. It's a Chinese brand.
Oh, yes, I've heard of OnePlus. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Chinese brand. So basically, I need that. Now, the funny thing here is that probably one of these streaming devices could do it. I heard that the PlayStation Portal is good, but it's actually one of the best out there. But to be clear, my other phones I have, they can actually do it really well. The problem is the screen is just like 1 inch too small for me, to really like enjoy it. So,
So if you were, because I've sent you a couple of videos around, say, some of the latest handhelds, because I've been in the handheld space for a while now. So which one, if you had a choice, which one would you go for?
If I had a choice, I had to go for a handheld. I would actually probably pick the Xbox ROG Ally is the one I would want to get, simply because I need comfortability. I don't want to hold a device that's going to hurt my hands. I need it to be comfortable. And it seems it's the most comfortable handheld out there. Now, some people might say like, oh, okay, it's comfortable, but it's not like the end or be all. So I wouldn't mind the one of the Lenovo products. For some reason, I just don't want a Steam Deck. First of all,
Why?
first of all, I use Game Pass a lot, so I'm already like, no, thank you. Like,
Okay.
I use a Windows Store, and I use Epic and all these things, so I don't really want one. But I guess I could still, stream. It's just I like the idea of just having options now. Like I was talking to a guy about this, and I was like, the idea that I buy a console device that has locked me into its ecosystem, it's so archaic.
Here we go.
It's so ridiculous.
Here we go.
And consumers have been suckered into thinking this is the way it should be when it clearly isn't. It's such a joke. And 30 years from now, these console warriors who think this is a good idea, their kids are gonna be like, "Daddy, like, why are you so dumb?" That's what's gonna be happening, man.
Boo this man, please, guys. Boo this man. He's on a gaming podcast and he's busy here with blasphemy. Look, I think there's a market for everything, and I think you can sort of. I would class you as part of the emerging market. Your view or your point of view is what I think a lot of Zoomers who are into video games. There's actually an interesting article that I read recently, Tai, and was it an article or was it a video? But basically, it says there's been a huge change from the traditional gamer and sort of like the current to future gamer. And to me, this was profound. And you tell me what you think about this. They're saying that, we used to identify as gamers. If you own a game system, you play on PC, you play on mobile, you would identify yourself as a gamer. They're saying that the current generation of people that play video games don't identify as gamers. They identify themselves as, I am a Fortnite player.
Yeah.
I'm a PUBG player.
Yes.
I'm a what is those gacha games?
Genshin Impact player.
I'm a Genshin Impact player. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, again, I understand that. Then I'm glad that they're making that sort of like association or disassociation, because it sort of tells me that, like, I know that we're not the same thing, which to me is important. It's always been important to say, well, yeah,
do you think we created this?
Sorry?
Do you think we created this, like gamers? I'll give it like I'll present this. When Skyrim came out, and when everyone was putting in hundreds to thousands of hours in it, and when everyone was playing Halo multiplayer, and it was the way they talk, it was the way you met up with your friends. When people were playing MMO games, Diablo, all these MMO games from ABK, what are the ABK games called again? MMORPG games. Warcraft, and the industry was seeing that. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, it's Warcraft. It's World of Warcraft. Yeah.
Somebody said this isn't Thai. Why, Richie? What's going on? Wait, tell me why it's not Thai. You can't stream on the cheap tablets. Oh yeah. No, he's right. You can't stream on a cheap tablet. That's what I've realized. It's good enough to do what you want to do, and if you want to play certain games, but man, $100 tablet, it ain't working. $200, like, not to the quality you want. And also as well, it's the service. If it's GeForce, it's probably going to be better, so maybe a GeForce now on the tablet that's like, maybe a couple $100 might probably outperform a tablet that's using xCloud with, like, let's say $400, right? So, but anyways, to go back to the point, they saw that we were playing Skyrim and we wanted to live in these games. They saw we played The Witcher and we just didn't play for like 15, 17 hours. We were
Mm-hmm.
obsessed. We wanted more. We wanted to do side stories. We wanted to do mini games. And even
Mm-hmm.
Mass Effect 3. How many people go back and play Mass Effect over and over again, looking for more
Yeah.
tidbits, more lore? And the industry saw this and said, no, we think people want to actually live in these games. So let's create a situation where it's not a game, it's a platform where they can exist, which is a step back from the virtual reality we all thought about when we were like in like 10 years old, like, hey, put it in your head and then you live in this huge kind of world. And that's what Ubisoft has been trying to do. They don't want you to go away, they want you to stay within those worlds. And that's what Genshin Impact basically is. You sign in every day, you get your rewards, and you explore the universe, and they keep giving you live updates because it's not about being a gamer anymore. It's about being a Genshin Impact player. It's about being a Skyrim player, etc., etc. And I said this to to a guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a lot of hours in Skyrim, and that's all he plays. That's all he wants to play in Skyrim, and then he jumped to Elden Ring, and that's all he plays too as well. So I feel like gamers have, even though we kind of push back on some of these things, did we do it ourselves? Is that really?
No,
Is it not what we want?
I disagree because all the games that you mentioned that are not like your battle royales or MMOs. I play a lot of those games. Like I play Mass Effect, I play Cyberpunk, I'm a gamer. I live in all these worlds. I don't want to live in one world. I'm not obsessed with one world. I'm obsessed with all these worlds. I'm obsessed with Forza Horizon. The original Forza Horizon is still my original world that, once in a while I fire up my 360 and I go back to that world because everything from the music to the cars is so meaningful to me. Just like I like to fire up Skyrim once in a while and explore that world, the music, the snow, the Nordic mythology. I love everything about that. But then again, more than everything else, I'm a Mass Effect guy. Love Mass Effect, love that universe more than any other universe. Perhaps the only universe I appreciate as much as Mass Effect is Cyberpunk. So I live in all these worlds. That is why I'm a gamer. I'm not a Mass Effect player. I'm not a Cyberpunk player. I'm a gamer. I inhabit all these worlds. What do you guys think, Fuzzy? Raichi, what's your thought? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that is it either or? Are you either a player of a specific experience or game, or can you inhabit going forward all these worlds? I mean, what is I don't understand. Like, what is the issue with being able to do all these?
What do you mean the issue?
Like, why is it that you have to pick one world, whereas if I look at my library, I've got thousands of worlds?
I think the problem is some of these games, what they're doing now is that they're trying to you can pick thousands of worlds, and I think those worlds are not maybe as interesting, but also it's the investment. Maybe there's a game mechanic that you like a lot, maybe there's characters, maybe you're a sci-fi guy. Like, think about it, like when I think about Mass Effect and the Mass Effect universe, I don't care anything about sci-fi world. Like, I might check out the Expanse world a little bit, but like Mass Effect is like, I love my Asaris. I love my my tallies. So why am I really looking forward to another to go to another world? I think Sean Layden said this in an interview with Destin, where he said that I think that, like, he knows the industry was changing because back in those days, I don't know if the game was called Ever. It wasn't Everspace, but it was a game. I can't remember the name of it, but
EverQuest was
EverQuest.
Sony game.
Yeah, so they released EverQuest 1, and I think he said, like, okay, we had a lot of players who were playing it, and they loved it, they liked it. And he said traditionally what you would do is you release EverQuest 2. They released EverQuest 2, and the players playing the first one just like, no, I've invested my time, all my friends are here, the life is here, I don't want to go jump to the second one. And it was like, oh wow, you can't just slap another number on the other one because people are attached to, like, the previous games. So I think we are the ones who made the industry like this.
I disagree with you.
Now, obviously, when I say we, you're like, I ain't do this shit. But
No,
however, but then I would ask you, You know, how many hours did you spend in Mass Effect playing? How many hours did you spend in some of these other games that you fall in love with? They don't want to be a Stellar Blade where Us just plays for like 20 hours. They want to do what
No,
Mass Effect did to you.
but listen to this, right? Like my most played game last year was Stellar Blade. I think I rounded up almost 100 hours on Stellar Blade.
Yeah, but you're good at those.
And
You
I'm a
had
massive
mods. You had mods, you know, so
no, I didn't have any
you did some
mods.
crazy shit with that game, I'm sure.
No, but that's the thing with Stellar Blade. You don't have to mod Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade does all the. If you want to see a little bit of TNA, if that's your thing, or you like attractive characters, there's not a single mod that you have to install in Stellar Blade. I've put so many mods in Mass Effect. I've put so many mods in Cyberpunk, but I've put not a single mod on Stellar Blade. It's just how the game is built.
Mhm.
It's built like a game from the PS2 era, and there's just something addictive about that whole gameplay loop and the design, sort of like direction and everything that they did in that game. They got right. But I hear where you're coming from, and I just where I disagree with you. I just don't think that's the mentality of old school gamers. Someone that grew up, like for instance, in the, let's say, from the 16 or the 8-bit era all the way up to the 32, or the later eras of the Xbox One and the Dreamcast and the PS2. I don't think we think like that, but I think the newer guys who play games on their cell phones, who play games on cloud, who play games on tablets and light PCs, that's how they feel about game. They've got one experience that they just want to revisit all the time. Whereas I think we're a little bit more diverse in terms of our tastes, because we want to. You don't just want to sample, but like once you've experienced the world, you want to experience more worlds. You want to like almost jump from world to world.
But you see why I wonder, yeah. I guess one way to look at it is like this: we like fantasy, we
Yeah.
like sci-fi, and we like stories, and we like one-and-done stories, right? And that's great. However, if you were to ask people right now, I think maybe a perfect example is Star Wars. Why is it that like people want so much more Star Wars content? Some of them go to Star Trek, sure. I know these other like sci-fi, maybe soft sci-fi content or IPs, but they all want Star Wars. They want to explore the universe. They want more stories. They want to learn how did Darth Vader become Darth Vader? Tell me about episode 1, 2, 3, 4. Who is Renee? Like they want more of these things. I think that's what these companies are realizing. Like with video games, we don't actually have to create 10 Star Wars movies or 15 or 20. What we can do is create the universe and then tell these stories within those games with updates. And because it's interactive, people are going to want to play them. They want to get involved, invested, and maybe we throw a microtransaction here and there, and then we make some more money. So I think, if I was just actually like, what are the biggest franchises in the world? Star Wars will become among them. And I think that tells you the answer. The video games that we're playing today, they want to be Star Wars.
But like, tell me how healthy Star Wars is today, Ty.
Well, no, it's not healthy because the people. Well,
Yes.
no, it's healthy, but the people who are making it, the people who are, who lead the direction, they've done this, right? They've created stories that people don't want to create. However, what if
what's the danger? Listen to what you just said. What is the danger?
There's no danger.
Sorry?
There is no danger.
Is there no danger in being a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan? Or what's another franchise that people think, a Marvel fan? Marvel is, for me, the best example of that. What happens when you inhabit one world?
Well,
just using the
it means you're, well, I guess the question, maybe you're asking like, it means you're stuck in that world, and then if that world doesn't fit your needs anymore, then you've kind of lost something.
There we go. Look at the backlash. Those franchises I just mentioned. Look at the backlash with Marvel. Look at the backlash with Star Wars. Look at the backlash with all these franchises that encompass just all these people. like, to me, you need diversity is important. People always get diversity wrong. Diversity is important because diversity means that instead of you just having the same meal every day, you are having different things or different plates, or you're sampling different things all the time. And that's how we used to game. So if Star Wars doesn't work for you anymore, there's another 10 sci-fi franchises that you can go into. What happens when Fortnite is no longer what people want and there is no other alternative, because everybody has sort of like just streamlined everything into these, few base experiences that we can all sort of like, you now have, instead of 20 different sci-fi franchises, you've got 2. To me, that there's a lot of danger there. You need that diversity. So when maybe I'm no longer interested, or maybe the writers that they've brought on no longer write the sort of stories I like, you need to have alternatives. You need to have options. This thing of locking yourself into just one plane, I think there's a danger there.
No, there is. There is a danger there. It's still a preference situation, though. But
No,
I
absolutely.
get your point.
Yeah. But anyways, we're getting sidetracked here. So Tai, I want you to actually, do you have that article by Jay's Corden? It's probably Jay's Corden Windows Central, right? I want us to start there. So guys, tell us, what are you most excited about from Microsoft games? I mean, Xbox this year. Well, what are you expecting? I'll tell you what I don't think is going to come up this year. I don't think you're gonna get Gears of War. What is it? It's Gears of War E-Day. I don't think you're gonna get that this year.
Really?
I'm almost sure that you're not gonna get that this year.
Why do you say that?
I don't think it's ready. It's an Unreal 5 engine game. I don't think it's ready. I think they might need to polish it. If it's at the showcase, I'll give them freaking props, man. I'll give them all their props.
Okay, no, that's fine. But I would say maybe some mitigating factors. Like what mitigating factors do you think why it wouldn't be ready?
The first mitigating factor is generally just how Xbox Studios runs their what's the word? Like how they run their studios, like how they manage their studios. They've just, a lot of the game, like for instance, I'll give you an example. A lot of the games that they announced in 2018, we still haven't seen them today. We've seen like maybe half of them, but like there's quite a, like for instance, State of Decay. Where's State of Decay? What do we know about State of Decay? And it just comes down to what we've learned about Xbox in the past, and it has nothing to do with whether or not I think the studio is incompetent or they can't get the game done. It's just a matter of like what I've come to expect from Xbox. If they don't start like normally or typically with Xbox, if a game is almost ready and it's around the corner, then they start showing it off. They would have started showing it off last year. We've only seen one trailer, which was like 2 years ago. And that's it. There's been no talk. There's been no hint of what's happening. And what has happened to other games that Xbox has done that to? They've just pulled the plug out of nowhere, and there were no other updates.
Okay. So here will be my mitigating factors. I believe, and I could check this out, but I think they did say it's 2026.
Okay.
I think they confirmed it. I think in the trailer.
Fuzzy says, I feel like they confirmed Gears for 2026 multiple times. I'm expecting it later this year. You guys are very hopeful. But again, the second factor is how tight the slate is this year. You're telling me this year they're going to release... Okay, it's their anniversary year, maybe. Maybe that's what I'm sort of not harping on. But like, you're telling me they're going to release Halo Combat Evolved remake. They're going to release Forza 6. They're going to release Fable. They're going to drop Gears. And then, of course, there's all these other games. Like, for instance, there's games that we expect from Bethesda. There's games that we're expecting from, of course, Activision Blizzard.
No, but you see, so here will be my points, right, as to why it's going to come out. So, and Fuzzy is saying there was a 2026 by Gears during the Game Pass commercial at the Game Awards. The Coalition is going at Naughty Dog speed. I feel they've confirmed Gears for 26%. Here's the reasons why I think it's going to come. Number one, they confirmed it. They said the emergence begins in 2026, right? So that's the first point. So we can say like at least that's their hope, right? The next point I'll say is this: the game has been in development since 2019 or 2018, so that will put it in around the 7-year mark, right? Now, okay, you're gonna bring up Fable and these other guys, right? Which is fine. But here's the third part. Here's the part I think is important. I think this is the most important part of it all.
Mhm.
I think it depends on the studio. In the same way you can trust Obsidian to give you content. If I ask you right now, like, what is Xbox most trusted studios, you would say Obsidian. You'd probably say Playground Games, and you'd probably also say Gears. Now with Playground Games, Fable has been in development for 7, 8, maybe 9 years, 10 years. But my response to that would be that Fable team is like they hire like 200 new people. It's a whole new team. So it might as well be a whole new studio, right? And they're using Forza tech as well, which is a tech that is not suited for RPG games. Like, it's mitigating factors as to why Fable is the way it is. The difference here with the Coalition is extremely consistent for Xbox, and you probably would say that yourself. They're not making a open world RPG game. They're going back to their roots, making what they're good at making, a single player, narrative driven, third person action adventure game with no open world elements. You know what I mean? And if that's been in development since 2018 and 19, I would actually trust the Coalition to be more or less done with it. You can.
Okay, so let me just ask you a question, right? In regards to all that. So how long has they been working? You said 2018. What is that? Like 7 years?
Let me double check that.
Just double check. So Rachel says the Coalition is going at a Naughty Dog speed. That's true. This generation, they are going at a Naughty Dog speed. And if you look at like the difference between like when they made Gears 4 and 5, it was way faster. But
apparently started around 2019.
Okay, 2019. So what is that? Like 6 years?
Nearly 7 years.
Nearly 7 years. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I get what you're saying is that like, so they've been working at this for a while. So, and again, it's not a new concept for them. It's sort of like an ongoing concept. But then again, my thing is this, is that Crystal Dynamics, is it Crystal Dynamics? Yeah, it's Eidos and Crystal Dynamics, right? The guys that make Tomb Raider. These guys were tasked to making a perfect, I know that it failed with the initiative, but they were tasked with making a perfect dark game using the blueprint of, say, a Tomb Raider, because it's a female protagonist. It's going to be somewhat of a shooter, like all concept that they've worked with in the past. And then after how many years? Was it 7 years? What did we get?
Nothing. But you see, remember mitigating factors, yeah. So I would say this: we can critique Mabuti for his lackadaisical style in terms of how these studios operate, right? So maybe if you had somebody there who was different, like a Yoshida, you get these games coming out faster, or you get games that don't feel, for example. But the question is, can a studio run itself? The reason why Obsidian has been hitting, you could argue, is because they know how to run themselves. The reason why even apart from Obsidian, why Playground Games is doing well enough is because they know how to run themselves when it comes to Forza, right? It's these other studios that need a heavy hand that's different. So the question that I would ask you is, do you think the Coalition knows how to run themselves?
But the problem is, like, they have to run themselves, but within the chaos of Xbox. Xbox has been in chaos.
No. There's no chaos, because remember, the Coalition is based in Canada, I believe. So they don't need to deal with the chaos of any other studio. They just need the free reign to do what they want to do, and they need the finances.
Are they not based in Edmonton?
I could double check that, but my point is that it wouldn't really matter. Because they can run themselves. They don't need anything else.
Okay. No, like, I'll take your word for it. Look, I hear what you're saying that it will probably, but for some reason I don't see it coming out because another thing. Oh, sorry, the third thing I wanted to mention is the fact that like, I would think that if you have been developing a game for 6 years, we would have seen some sort of like, and I always say that it's very important, especially if you actually have a
Yeah,
proof of
sorry,
concept.
Coalition is in Vancouver, Canada. Yeah.
Oh, Vancouver. Okay, I was not aware of that. And that's a great place to be. But what I would say is, I would have loved. I would have thought by now we would have seen more than one clip that we saw, like about 2 to 3 years ago.
You mean the E-Day trailer?
That's it. That's all we saw. You're telling me that they've not shown us anything since then?
Yeah, but I
around-
think that's good because I think it's about time that Xbox go back to a cadence of like they had a lot to show at the game showcase. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't blown away because I kind of felt like the previous ones were better. But why blow your load when you don't need to? Especially when Sony isn't doing showcases either, right? Everyone's gonna watch your show anyway. Everyone's gonna say it's good because you're gonna show a lot of games. They don't need to show any of these things whatsoever because they are the biggest third-party publisher right now. Like right now, the showcase has been announced. They arguably have some of the biggest games coming out this year. Forza's going to be big no matter what anyone says. Hey, and Fable's going to be big no matter what anyone says. And Gears is going to be big too no matter what anyone says.
So the last contention or point of contention I have is that if you telling me that you're going to launch Gears and one of your primary showpieces every year is the showcase, and there's nothing about Gears, you're not even gonna hype Gears? Is it gonna be your secret game? Wouldn't you want to lead with that? It being such a big franchise, wouldn't you want to lead with Gears? Because Gears is bigger than Fable.
No, but why lead with Gears? Where and when?
I'm talking about like now in the January 21st.
No, but why would you?
Because it's a much more bigger marketing or recognizable franchise than say Fable. You would want to, like, for instance, do you think? Look at the lineup, right? Look at the lineup. The lineup is 2 games from one studio, and tell me if this makes sense to you. 2 games from one studio. Right? Both are big franchises. One everybody expects and everybody knows. You're telling me that headline would have not looked better if you had said from we have Playground with 2 games. Oh, okay, great. Playground's got 2 games. We have the Coalition finally showing off. Why would you want to shadow drop Gears?
No. I think you're missing. No, okay. So I think you're missing something. Yeah, and our boy Fuzzy has probably given you the answer, which is the answer I was talking to my friends about this. The developer direct in terms of the games you would want to show. Number one, you would want to show a big game, and that's going to be Forza. Forza is your grand game. It's going to sell more than Halo. It's going to sell more than Gears. It's going to sell more than this game. So you got to show Forza, especially because I think Forza is coming out before June, right? So it's probably one of the first ones to come out, right? So that's one. 2, you want to show Fable because Fable is the most expensive game you're probably ever going to make, at least for now, right? And it's the game that's probably going to launch on all platforms as well.
Which one? Sorry, which one?
Fable.
Oh, Fable. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like Fable is the big RPG game. Like, everyone likes RPG games. The Witcher.
So can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Would you not want to then, since it's such a huge franchise, would you not want to then give it the Starfield treatment and just have a showcase? Maybe because that's what they did with Starfield. They had they gave Starfield its own showcase. If it's that big of a budget game or that big of a deal, then you announce at your developer direct that on this date you bring Todd Howard to close the show to say one more thing. On this date we will have an exclusive look at Fable, and it will be an hour, and everything that you need to know about Fable will be on that day. Would you not want to do that and then lead with Gears for this, because of the fact that Gears is such an Gears is more closely associated with the Xbox brand than Fable is. So if I look at Fable, I would compare it, and the fact that it's an RPG, it's more closely comparable to say a Starfield than say a Forza or a Gears or a Halo,
Mm-hmm.
because those three games are closely associated with the brand.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but I think there's something else. Let me play like a little. Let me try to make you realize this. Yeah. Do
Okay,
you think
so you
Xbox
want to
wants to
say,
release? Do you think Xbox wants to put Forza everywhere day one?
to me that would make, given their current strategy, why not? Why would they not want to?
100%. I agree with you. Why do you think they're not doing it?
I have no idea. Makes no strategic sense to me.
The
If you're
reason
going
I'll
all in on everything else,
I'll
why
tell you
would you not?
I'll tell you why I don't say I know why they're not doing it because I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I know. The reason why
Yeah.
is because of technology. They don't have the resources.
What do you mean?
You have playground games. Sorry, when The Last of Us was being finished, when The Last of Us was finishing up, I think Sony has like 700 people credited in that game, right? Because they got all the other studios to help out. Playground Game is releasing Xbox's biggest game this year, which is Forza, and
Whoa, wait.
Playground.
Is it
Hmm?
you saying it's the biggest game? You think it's going to be bigger than Gears?
Yeah, Forza is the biggest Xbox's biggest IP.
No, I'm not. I don't mean bigger. No, that's debatable. But like, in terms
Is
like,
is it debatable?
no,
Is it?
this is what I'll say to you. It's their
Wait,
most
Fuzzy and
played
Rachel
IP.
in the comments, let us know what's Xbox's biggest IP right now, apart from
No,
Minecraft.
it's their most played IP. If you're measuring it in terms of player counts, yes. But in terms of production values, in terms of affinity to the brand, in terms of overall games sold, Forza I don't think comes close to, say, I think Halo still is the flagship. And Halo has been put at the back burner. Microsoft just doesn't give a shit about Halo anymore.
Halo
So
isn't. No, it's Forza.
no,
Has
what
to
I'm
be.
saying to you, well, what I'm saying to you, but in terms of just like, if you want to hyper, what is it? If you want to hype a fan base,
Mhm.
I would not like Forza. Just it sells because everyone. It's a casual game. There's no affinity attached to it in the sense that like I associated with the Xbox closely because during the 360 era, those were the three games that carried it, or those were the three franchises that carried Xbox. But if overall, if you look at the overall picture, not its recent success, I would say that yes, it's way bigger than Gears, but in terms of budget, I still don't think it cost as much as Gears to make. Because you're using the same engine, you're using assets that have been used before, etc., etc. When you put money into a game like Gears or Fable, that's a much more significant investment that needs to work. So, in terms of your marketing efforts, in terms of all the slots that you have to plug that game, you need to use those. Forza doesn't need marketing; it sells itself. It's become like Fortnite, or it's become like all the popular franchises that literally sell themselves. So why would you want to plug a game that you release almost every year? Everybody's aware of it, versus games or franchises that have been dormant for a very long time. No one has had contact with these franchises, and you want to have that excitement back. Shouldn't the bulk like the way that they did with Starfield?
Well,
Starfield did a
well, the
way
way
bigger marketing push than
the way
Forza
why
5.
the same reason why Fallout 76 and Sea of Thieves are still shown at their showcases, even though like the hardcores, like why are we showing this? Is because those are like the big selling games. You're right though, they do sell themselves, but you gotta show respect to the teams. Like you can't be Playground. You're bringing in 45, 50 million players. And then Xbox will and be like, well, there's some hardcore fanboys online, and they don't really want to see this. They want to see the game that's only going to sell 2 million instead. If I'm Playground, I'm like, bruh, maybe I'm about to go to PlayStation right now, bro. Because PlayStation, okay, put it aside, no one. I don't really think the PlayStation fan base, the main one like that we know of these days,
Yeah.
they don't really care about Gran Turismo like that, right? But
Well,
PlayStation,
but this is the thing. No, but like it still is like, even if you look at like the PlayStation 5 sales, it's still, I promise you, it's probably
no.
still
But,
it's
you see,
the
what I'm saying,
selling.
but I think these people who care are like legacy people who like for example, my friend, he's a casual gamer. He buys Gran Turismo every time. I don't think the God of War, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding fan base is looking at Gran Turismo like, oh yeah, that's the game right there,
But that's
right?
what I'm saying to you is that like that's like me saying that I don't think the guy that plays Gears, that plays Halo, that plays Fable is looking at Forza because
I
it's different
agree.
genres,
No, I
different
agree.
not.
But I'm saying that Sony would still always represent Gran Turismo because it's important to them.
Yes,
So I think
correct.
Xbox needs to represent, Forza in the same way.
Yes, no. I agree with you, Ty. But like, then you give them 10 minutes or 15 minutes instead of the
No, no,
30
but, but,
minutes.
but see, but here's the thing, because this is why I love the developer direct, because you have to pick and choose what to represent. You kind of have a spot for third party. You have a spot for, last year we had Clear Obscure, right? I think
That was
to
like
get
10 minutes.
true, but I think you have to divide your time between respect for your developers, respect for like even smaller IPs to give them a platform that's going to help them as well, right? But I think the thing here that's important is um as our homie Fuzzy said, is like, Forza Horizon 5 had like 50 million plus players. Not many games have not many games have that many players this gen.
No, like it's exceptional. I agree with you.
Yeah, and
It's
I'm
done
saying
for
like you can't just be like no because Ushers isn't gonna like it.
But then the thing is that, like, but what I'm saying to you is that, like, this is their decision. They don't have to show 4 games. They can show 5 games. They can show 6 games. But they are selectively saying that we're only gonna the bonus game is only gonna get like 30 minutes. If it's a hidden bonus game, it never gets like an extensive amount of time more than anything else.
Mhm.
So if they do that to Gears and they give Gears like 10, 15 minutes and it's coming out this year, and this game we haven't
But,
since
but,
it's
but
been
Ushers,
what
I'm not gonna lie to you right now. Like I feel sorry, I don't know why I'm saying this.
Okay.
When I was talking to people about like Forza, everybody kept saying like, "Yo, it's Japan. Yo, it's Japan.
What? Yeah.
Forza's gonna be in Japan." And I think you have to, the fact that you're going to Japan, you gotta show that up. It's like, you gotta show people like the details, the devs talking about Japan, the man, I want to see some Tokyo Drift. I don't want to be a stereotype, but like Tokyo Drift kind of stuff. Yeah, okay, don't mind me. But
Yeah.
you,
No. We
you
all love Japan, and we all love
yeah,
Japan. Like,
you got to show it off in a
human
way,
beings.
yeah. But
We
to
all
be
grew
clear,
up with
I think what we're missing here is that this is done by just necessity. I don't think if they had their way, it would be this way. I think the reason why this is happening is because Gears of War is not ready. It's not
So
ready
that's
yet.
what I'm saying.
Coming,
But like that's why I'm saying it's not coming out this year, dude. Like,
no. Wait, why I said okay? Let me rephrase this. Yeah. Okay, put it this way.
thank you.
Oh, wait, stop. Sorry, everyone. If I'm talking a little bit crazy, don't mind me. I'm a little bit. I don't know. I feel tipsy for some reason. But anyways,
You've
what I
been
want
drinking.
to
That's
say
why
is,
I'm drinking my tipsy.
I'm drinking a little bit, yeah. But what I want to say here is this, yeah.
Yeah.
How would you have these 4 games, right? Let's just focus on these 4 games. You have Fable,
Yeah.
you have Gears, and you have Forza, and you have like Halo. But how would you do it?
But like my thing is again like okay, if I had to do it, I would focus on. I would definitely Forza. I would definitely bring. It will definitely be in there, right? It will be part of the developer direct, for obvious reasons, as you said. It has all these players, etc., etc., etc. But it would not take up as much time as games like, say, Fable, as well as, say, Gears, because of the fact that I feel that those games need a lot of more real estate. So, in fact, how I would do it, Ty, is I would not have Fable at the showcase. I would have us just letting the people know that, listen, Fable is coming. We're going to have a showcase in March for Fable that's just going to be dedicated just to Fable. And then I would have Forza. I would have Halo. I don't even know what the fuck that game from Game Freak is doing there. Nobody cares about that game. No one's talking about that game. I would have the trinity of Xbox is this is the meme. It's Gears, Halo, and Forza. That's the meme. Have them, and Xbox is so uncreative. They can't even do the meme. Do the meme. Forza, Halo, Gears. If this is the anniversary year, why are we having a random Game Freak game being shown off? Gears, Forza, Halo. And then in that same showcase, you say, listen, we're going to have an extensive showcase, just like we did for Starfield in March, just for Fable. That's how I would approach it.
Okay, so for the showcase, what's at the showcase?
It's Forza, Gears, Halo.
No. I think this is why we might be butting heads here. What is at the end of the showcase? At the very end, the developer
You mean
direct.
like the one last thing or one more thing?
Yeah, the big after show party where like they go into details with the game. Starfield did it. Call of Duty had it as well.
No, but remember, Starfield had its own standalone showcase.
At the end of the showcase, remember, no, wait, I think you forgot something. After the showcase, Xbox has a developer direct exclusively for one of their games. Which game gets that?
Oh, you mean like which games do they need to do a deep dive in?
Yeah, I mean they do it every year.
Yes, Gears. Go into Gears because
but wait. So why would you show off Gears in the developer direct and then show it off again at the showcase?
But like, okay, so what do you mean though? Like, do you mean like?
Okay, wait.
So what do you mean like?
In January,
they dive into
developer direct, right? And that's what we're getting now. In June, they have a showcase, and at the end of that showcase, they have a developer direct.
June or okay, so I'm trying to understand. Are you talking about like after the developer direct?
Yes.
Like the actual now thing, or are you meaning later on?
No. After the developer direct, they always tell everyone stay back and get a deep dive in this game.
Oh. So what did they do last year?
Have you not watched the deep dive? The deep dive is basically the show. The deep dive is basically.
I don't watch the deep dives because I don't
really.
Care about
the deep dive is based. There's a 40-minute deep dive on Starfield. There's a 30-minute deep dive on Call of Duty. There's a 35-minute deep dive on Outer Worlds 2.
Wait, like you keep bringing up Starfield. Did Starfield not have its own entire showcase separately?
No, yeah, it's straight away after the showcase. If you don't change the channel, you get a separate developer direct.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, but like, which show are you talking about? Are you talking about the developer direct, or are you talking about the June showcase when they showed the game of Alone?
The June showcase.
No, we're not at the June showcase. Wait, we're not at the June. I'm talking about the developer direct.
I know. Okay, I know. I'm telling you, what game would you put at the June showcase at the very end?
Oh,
that's like for 40 minutes.
I get you. So, okay, cool. So here's my plan, right? So I'm Phil Spencer, right? Or Sarah Bond or whoever, right? And I'm in charge. So in January, you're going to get Gears of War, you're going to get Forza 6, and then you're going to get Halo Combat Evolved. And then we're going to show you how it's much better than the previous one, blah, 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 all that. So that's what you're getting in January. Then we fast forward because the next one is in June, right?
Wait, to be clear, you're saying Forza,
Halo Gears.
Forza, Halo Gears. Okay, cool.
That's for this one here. This one that's coming up now.
Yes. Okay, so those three,
yeah. Then we go to June when they show all their games off. That's what you're talking about. That's what I was getting confused by.
Yeah.
So that's the one you're talking about where they show off all their games. So your question, I just want to understand clearly. You're saying, what do you show after that showcase? That's when they showed Starfield, right?
Yes.
They showed
Starfield and Call of Duty and Outer Worlds 2.
100%. Yes. So that is what you show. You show Fable off there, bro. That's what I'm saying. Is that you dedicate that entire time for Fable.
Okay.
You show all the nice cinematics for Fable.
Okay.
And then
what if Fable is coming out before June?
I don't think so, dude. Why would you do that? Fable must be a December game. You want to get all that holiday money. Why would you release Fable?
But it's okay. So here's my take on that. Yeah. What if you're Phil Spencer, right? Remember, Fable got delayed from last year, right? What if Coalition comes to you and says, "Yo, this game ain't gonna be really ready. Like we could release Gears of War in like August." But we need to kind of, do a few kinks here and there. So it's probably going to be a fall game. Like that is our release window. We do earlier, the game is going to come out, glitchy, whatever it is. And Playground Games is telling you, yeah, we could do it like, probably April or May. What do you do then?
But like, why? Like, the way that you're phrasing that is that like they need to release a game in a specific time slot, or they don't
Okay,
have any other.
no, but I'm saying like if Gears is not coming out until fall, until like the end of the year, because that's the
Bro.
development timeline.
Yeah.
Why would you force Fable and Gears in the same like period? And then what do you have during like
But that makes no
April,
sense.
May, June, July? Like, what do you drop there?
Bro, like you showing the games of early in the year doesn't mean that you're guaranteeing dates. I mean, we didn't have a date. Like for instance, even they didn't even commit to a date for Doom. What is it? Doom: The Dark Ages, when they showed it off in January. You showing the game off in January doesn't mean you're committing to an earlier date. It just means that you are showing that this is one of the key because the only exception where this makes sense.
Just one quick. Fuzzy says two things here. He says, the deep dive last year was with Obsidian, where they showed off Grounded 2 and Outer Worlds 2. This year will almost definitely be with Playground. But here's the thing, Fable in December would be a terrible idea if GTA 6 is still late November. Do you not think GTA affects Fable more than Gears of War?
So this is the thing with this is very simple. This is the simple calculus. Do you know how to stay out of Gears of War? Sorry, out of GTA's way?
How?
Don't release the same year.
But
that's the only way you avoid.
But they said
GTA
2026.
Don't
All
release the same year.
all these games are coming out in 2026. They said it's all coming out in 2026.
Cool. So let's give it that. Let's say they're all coming out in 2026. First of all, as far as we know, aside from little Jason Schreier's little leak, as far as we know, they have not said that it's not coming out in May. They still have to announce that. We as far as in our reality, in our world right now, we're still expecting GTA 6 in May. So I'll ask you a question. So what's the difference if, like, for instance, what's coming out in May for Xbox? What would you put in May for Xbox?
I think it's probably Fable or Forza.
Okay, so you put Fable there, and it goes up against GTA.
Yeah, like okay. Before you even answer that question, I'll say this right now. I think I would have Fable at the end of the developer direct in June. I think that makes sense.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying.
I agree. But the problem that I'm seeing here, though, is that as soon as they came out and said there's no Gears of War in this developer direct, the only logical answer is like, where are you gonna give Gears a chance to shine? It has to be in the June showcase, because it doesn't make sense for me. Because remember, the first time in Starfield, remember in 2023, everyone thought we were going to see Starfield in January, yeah. And what did they say? They said, no, you're going to see Starfield because Starfield's going to have its own exclusive show. It doesn't
100%.
make sense to go into a deep dive of a game in January and then in June again. Like, what else are you adding to it?
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I think that's the reason why the Obsidian one was a bit weird, because everyone's kind of like, wait, didn't you show didn't they show Outer Worlds 2 in the developer direct last year as well?
No, not last year. I think it was last year. It came out last year, January.
Yeah.
February.
Let's see.
So that was the year before. Last year they showed off what is that waste of airtime? South of Midnight, I think.
Oh, they showed Avowed in 2024, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. South of Midnight was last year, right?
I'm gonna check it out. It was Avowed, Visions of Mana, Senua Saga, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So
that was 2024.
The 2024 and 2025 was 2025 was South of Midnight, Doom: The Dark Ages, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Expedition 33. Yeah, yes. So you see, that makes sense. You're not gonna show off a game in the developer direct and have the developers talking, and then do the exact same thing again in the June showcase. That's why the whole Fable thing doesn't make sense to me.
But like what I'm saying to you is that don't show off Fable in I think you're confusing yourself because I'm against you showing off Fable in February.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay,
now
okay, okay,
January.
okay. No. Okay, if you're saying that like this doesn't make sense, I'm okay. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
I
but
was
like
I was
this is
arguing
what
something
I'm
like
saying.
it's gonna be Gears because Fable is here, so it doesn't make sense to show Fable twice.
No. I'm not saying show it twice. I just want to change. So I'm saying Gears, Forza, and Halo in January. Those are the games you go with.
Yeah,
Gears, Forza,
I
and
would have
Halo.
agreed with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. You show those games off. You show because of the fact that like I think that you probably paid an arm and a leg to get. And again, it's playground games. You're not screwing them over by giving Forza, sorry, by giving Fable its own showcase. It's not like it's taking priority over Forza 6. It's the same studio. They've worked hard on this game. It's a new team, and they've spent probably tens to hundreds of millions getting this game made. So it needs to have its own spotlight. That's all I'm saying. It needs to have a similar spotlight like Starfield, where let's say after the June showcase, you've shown off all the games, all the Game Pass stuff, all that stuff. Then you say, stay tuned. We're going to have a full-on Forza showcase. Sorry, a full-on Fable showcase. During the actual
I
June
get it.
showcase,
But what if
flashy trailer.
but what if Fable isn't a what if it comes up before June?
But why would you do that though? Like to me, that's a game that needs to come out towards the end of the year.
Yeah, but like okay, end of the year, I get it. Yeah. Okay, so
Because
you'd have Gears
even if
come out mid year.
yeah, exactly. I would have Gears come out. And there's another factor that we're ignoring here. We're not factoring in Bethesda, and we're not factoring in Activision, which are all part of their release slate anyway. Because the one joke that some guy made is that like, don't be surprised if the fourth game or whatever that's announced is Metal Gear. So is Modern Warfare 4. Isn't that what they announced last year? Was Black Ops? Wasn't that their secret one last thing? I'm not sure. I think that was in June though. Was Black Ops? No, it was in January. Did they not show Black Ops 7 in January?
No,
as the one last
June.
thing.
No, it was June. June
It was
showcase
June,
as well.
okay.
Yeah.
But like that's what they're probably gonna do at some point in time. They have to drop a Call of Duty game as their one last thing because that is their biggest franchise.
No, I think they're done with that. Well, I mean, they might do it when they have nothing else to show, or maybe if the new Call of Duty game has like new features that's that they want to hype up or whatever.
But it's coming out. We're getting a Call of Duty game this year, so they have to hype it up. It has to get the biggest market. It makes the most money. You can't ignore it. You can't put it on the side.
No. It's gonna but it's, for example, they didn't show Call of Duty last year. No, for the deep dive, they didn't show Call of Duty. It was Avowed. Sorry, it was Outer Worlds 2.
Did we not have a Black Ops 7 deep dive last year?
No, that was in 2024.
Where did they show off? They always have a showcase.
No. Starfield was 2023.
Modern Warfare.
Starfield was 2023.
Yes.
Black Ops was 2024. And 2025 was Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah, but like, dude, I'm sure they had a showcase for not in June. I
Call of
get you,
Duty.
but I'm sure.
Oh no, okay. So you're saying that they should do a separate, like June or whatever it is, they should do a separate deep dive for Fable. Yeah. No, I can agree with that. Yeah. I agree.
So I don't care when you do a deep dive for Fable, but
I mean,
like
dude, Outer Worlds 2 had IGN first as well. Remember?
I don't even know why they did that because that game was just nobody cares about Outer Worlds 2, dude. Like, do you care about Outer Worlds 2?
It seems like the maybe the rumor or the speculation was that they Outer Worlds 2 something got delayed from the showcase. Maybe it was Fable.
Yeah.
And because Fable got delayed, they then had to like, it's okay, fine, let's show Outer Worlds 2 instead. If they already signed this deal with IGN. So I mean, that's the speculation. And yeah, Fuzzy, you're right. The mystery game is Double Fine's game, which is supposed to be interesting.
Again, Double Fine, dude. Like, Xbox and these double A games. Like, I'm so done with that shit. There, I don't care about Xbox's double A games.
And
Like,
you know what's it's great. I was saying is that like because I'm talking like with these guys now about like Forza, Fable, Gears, and I said this is the reason why these consoles weren't. This is another reason why these consoles weren't really selling as much because Fable would have sold you consoles.
yes.
Forza
Gears
Gears would have sold you consoles because they're console like games. They're games that sell consoles to some extent, right? And Xbox just didn't have none of these things. The only game that they had that was selling consoles was Starfield. And you need one in 6 years.
It's the like okay, like you do me a favor. Name me all the console sellers for the Xbox Series X and S this generation. If you have to think about it.
Name what? Sorry.
All the console sellers, like all the games that you must have an Xbox Series X to play.
Starfield. And
okay, one.
Honestly, that's
Halo Infinite.
No, I don't
People
think
can argue.
No, I don't think so.
I would say that like it is. I don't know. I don't think it's so possible.
No,
but
it
was supposed to sell.
I think the issue with Halo is that anyone who wanted Halo already has an Xbox. I don't think it's gonna really sell consoles like that. And I think people we're kind of done with it.
But okay, so would you not then say that anyone that wants Last of Us has already got a PS5? Or anyone that wants God of War has already got a PS5?
I think what God of War and what The Last of Us did was they managed to get gamers who were more casual to look at the PS4 and 5 because of this idea of there was this generational tentpole game that is amazing and tells a story in a specific way. There is no one I know who looks like Halo and thinks that Halo Infinite and thinks, oh yeah, this I have to play this game. Like The Last of Us will be remembered 10, 15, 20 years from now. People talk about it. Halo Infinite isn't going to be talked about like that. No way.
No, but like what Fuzzy is saying, he's saying Halo probably still sold the most consoles. Remember, there's a lot of guys that are on the fence because this is not a matter of like you're trying to, because a lot of people don't. This is the thing, Ty. You're a guy that is sort of like trying to decide whether or not Xbox is still the console for you. So you're holding off on buying an Xbox, or you're still making up your mind. You're on the Xbox One or you're on the PS4, and you're trying to decide: should I go back to Xbox or should I stick with Xbox if you are on Xbox? Halo would be the game that would make that decision for a lot of people, because that's the franchise. That's the game that got people into Xbox in the first place. So there's a lot of gamers that made their decision on the back of that. Because Halo didn't do bad numbers. I mean, when it came out, they did announce that it had like 25 million players. They were very hush about it, but like they did say that yes.
But keep in mind, I know Fuzzy is saying like it had double the number, but remember it was a live service game. It was free to play online, and I know people who tried the multiplayer, and Halo also had yeah, but think about it, Halo had Game Pass. It was free to play, and it came out on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S, which is not a problem. But and the numbers were impressive. But I think I don't think these people were like primarily buying Xboxes per se. In the same way, I think, for example, my response to that would be Mario, Zelda, and God of War and Spider-Man 2 have sold more consoles for Sony than Halo Infinite did for Xbox.
I agree with that. Like, I'm not gonna disagree because I just don't think that. I think it would have had that impact if it was launched with the Xbox Series X and S, not a year later after the console was launched.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you in that. Like, but I still think you can consider, if you're naming console sellers for this generation specifically, Halo is probably, and this is probably because I would go as far as saying, I put it to you that Halo probably sold more Xboxes than Forza 5 did.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. So let's move this along. So Tai, I want you. Have you found? Do you have that article? Because I want us to just dissect that article
Yeah.
by Jez. Um, if you have it, you can share it, and you can just take us through that, and we can discuss, and we can just have a look in terms of like what are they
You want me to
planning.
send you the link so you can put it on the screen, or
Can you not share from? There's not offer you a sharing option there, but you can send me the link as well. That's fine.
yeah, I think I better if I send you the
Say
link because I
Windows
don't want it
Central. What do you
to
look for it?
slow down my internet. Do I send it to you on WhatsApp or
What's
Twitter?
it called? Send it on Twitter because then I can get it via one of these. My browser here.
Okay, cool. I'll do it now.
So yeah, so let's see if we cannot find it.
Send it to you.
Okay, I'm retrieving it now. So while I'm doing that, so which one of these games? Because I asked this question in the beginning of the show. What are you most looking forward to the entire in terms of like on Xbox's slate? Because we know what they're doing. So what is it on your side that you're most excited for when it comes to Xbox?
Just for this year, I'll probably say Gears is kind of catching my interest a little bit, but probably Fable is probably has to be Fable. I think the idea of a comedic RPG game is quite interesting. It's a unique selling point. I'm not really interested in the sense that I prefer more of a hardcore, mature title like Witcher, Cyberpunk. But I do appreciate the fact that it's going to do something different. And I think that's going to be a unique selling point. If they can give me stories that are funny, lighthearted, and also grab me from an emotional point of view, then I think I'm definitely all in. So I'll actually say Fable's probably catching my interest a lot more these days.
What are some of the things? Have you played the previous Fable?
No,
games?
never. No.
You never played it for? Jesus Christ! Do you have? Which Xbox do you have?
Xbox Series X and S.
Go get Fable. The best Fable that you can ever play is Fable 2. It's
I've heard good
still
things about it. Yeah.
it's still the undisputed sort of like GOAT when it comes to Fable game. It's the best one. Like I've got such fond memories of it, and it was an early 360 game. It was a mid 360 game, let me put it that way. And it's the best RPG, in my opinion, that Xbox has ever made. And it's the best Fable game. It's the one that everybody remembers fondly because everybody hated Fable 3. And Fable 1 was like a stepping stone into making the franchise established. If you can get, I don't know if it was on PC, but I think it was an Xbox 360 exclusive. If you can, because it is on backwards compatibility, right? Guys, correct me. Is Fable 2? It's one of the greatest RPG experiences I've ever played, and it's got such a profound. It's comedic, but the story is very deep. There's a lot of deep themes that sort of like you feel like you're a very different character at the end of the game than you were in the beginning, and that was part of the mechanic. So that was pretty chill. I recommend everybody go check that game out. Let's see. I think I've got it here. Let me share. I'm talking about the article. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. And for our veterans, thanks for joining. Please hit the like button. It always just helps us out. Spread the word. Let's see. There we go. I've got the article. Now let's share. No. I think if that's why I won't lie. I'm not really hyped for Fable, but I want to be pleasantly surprised. I don't want to set my hopes up and think it's going to be something that it's not going to be. But I'm cautiously optimistic at this point. Okay, there we go. So Ty, I don't know. Like, is it big enough?
Well, I read it on my end, just so anyone who's like, whatever,
Okay.
wants
All
to
right, so
read
I'll
it.
scroll as you read, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Xbox in
And
2026. What to expect from Team Green this year and beyond? It's an interesting and potentially pivotal year for Xbox in 2026. After a somewhat unprecedented year of negative headlines, Xbox has an opportunity to turn it around this year. Xbox had a fantastic 2025 on paper. Xbox first party shipped more games than ever. Xbox Game Pass arguably had its best sprint of high quality games over two, with Expedition 33, Hollow Knight Silksong, Doom the Dark Ages, Oblivion Remake, and many more hits in the service.
Okay, can I just stop you there?
Yeah, fire away.
I just want to just dissect what they said. They said that like they had a fantastic 2025. Tell me, if you look at that lineup that just mentioned today, you're telling me if they'd released these games, all these games were released, and say that, let's say that all these experiences were either timed exclusive or exclusive to the Xbox Series X and S, if we're still console warring, you're telling me this lineup would have not made a difference?
I believe they would have had sales on the console side of things, but nothing dramatic.
You don't think it would move the needle in a year where Sony literally released like 2 games exclusives?
No, I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have moved the needle.
Really? You're saying
No.
to me, if Xbox had Expedition 33 as a timed exclusive, Hollow Knight is a timed exclusive.
Oh no! If you had Expedition 33, that would have done something. But the problem is that's a third-party game, right?
Yeah, but like they could have still done what Sony does. Just money had it so that it's a third. But they the ones that brought it to Game Pass and to all these players, and they marketed. They were responsible for a large part of that marketing for that game and getting the word out. So you're telling me you have Expedition 33 timed exclusive, Hollow Knight timed exclusive. Let's say they decided, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna make Doom Dark Ages exclusive or timed exclusive. It doesn't matter. Just say exclusive. Oblivion Remake. Timed exclusive.
Yeah.
This does not make a difference in the conversation.
No, I think they do. I think they sell consoles. I don't. Do they sell enough to justify it? The pivots. I don't know if they do.
Okay. No, I just wanted to check with you.
Yeah, I don't know if they do because I think Doom doesn't do crazy numbers because we already saw the sales. Not many people bought it on PlayStation apparently, and people bought it on most of those people on Steam. I think Silksong does well, but the question I would even say is like, how well does Silksong do on PlayStation even? Because I'm looking at the people who are purchasing these titles on a different platform, and I'm saying how many of them are likely to leave that platform just to get this device, to get this device. So I think,
but remember
3 does well and Silksong, but I think those Expedition 33, Hollow Knight Silksong, and I think Oblivion. I think those 3 do something. I think Xbox definitely sells consoles with that.
And I won't lie. I think Doom can do, like, I don't believe this thing of Doom cannot move numbers. I think Doom can do numbers if it's marketed correctly and it's positioned correctly. The problem with Xbox, where sort of like what compromises sales, is the whole Game Pass discussion. It really muddies the water, because all these games would sell brilliantly if Game Pass was not part of the conversation. Do you agree?
Yeah, they'll sell more
on Xbox. All these games would do brilliantly on Xbox if they were exclusives, if Game Pass was not part of the conversation. Okay.
No, I agree. But you see, I guess maybe my thing is like, if I was to look at how many sales it sold on PlayStation, because I think it sold 7 million copies right now.
What's that?
It sold Hollow Knight still has 7 million copies right now. Right? I would wager and say the vast majority of those are on Steam. So that, let's say even half of that is on Steam, right? So that's 3.5. And then I would say the other half of that is probably, it's not even 3/4 of that is probably on PlayStation. So I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox Series X and S only sold 1.5 billion or 2 million at most. Not 2 million, because that's
remember. We have a huge contingent of gamers that are still sitting on the fence, that are either they're all on PS4. I'm not even gonna factor in the Xbox One, but they're still on that other side. So, and the whole point, like, and I'm one of those people in the Xbox One generation that waited till about like the last 2 years before I jumped in. So if they can see that like there's a considerable offering on one console of some of the franchises that they recognize as well as some new ones. You know, Oblivion is associated very closely with the Xbox brand because it was a 360, it was one of the early 360 exclusives. It wasn't on PlayStation until a year later. Doom, not really closely associated with the Xbox console, but it's closely associated with PC. And actually, yeah, it is. It's associated with the original Xbox. It was the only port of Doom 3 came on Xbox. It was the first time Doom was ported. Not but like at a full capacity. I'm not talking about like later on, like they did with the SNES and whatever. But it's the first time that like a Doom game was released on PC and on console. Was I think Doom 3 at the same time.
Okay.
But please go on.
Yeah, I was just looking up some stats on Hollow Knight Silksong because I think that's an interesting one. There's no official numbers on Hollow Knight Silksong. But yeah, it says an updated breakdown. Yeah, I just can't find anything. It could be 1 million possible. And I would say, like, you know, if 1 million, if 1 million people bought it on PlayStation, how many of those 1 million people were willing to switch in the first place? That isn't that many, because those people are just buying it because it's on their platform, right? But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one. But do you agree that they had a good 2025?
No, absolutely, I do. But I'm just it's sad to me because it didn't translate to anything for Xbox players. It was a good 2025 for the company, but it was not a good 2025 for the Xbox players. It was a shit year for Xbox players. Okay. It was probably the worst year for Xbox players.
We also saw a huge Xbox partnership with ASUS for the Xbox Ally gaming handheld, which puts Xbox Play Anywhere at the forefront. Microsoft also announced big partnerships with AMD for the next-gen consoles. So with the ASUS partnership, how do you think the Xbox ROG Ally X has been received so far? Do you think it was a successful partnership, or do you think it was a disaster?
Okay, I'll tell you this. The partnership was successful, but I don't know how successful the console was. I know that ASUS is benefiting from this relationship because I'm sure that it's structured in a way that it does favor ASUS because of the fact that they are an OEM and they're very good at this, and they absorbed most of the damage. Xbox probably helped with where Xbox is brilliant at, what they did very well here. Sorry, not Xbox, Microsoft, is the marketing. They really pushed this thing. They sent it to everyone at a unit, etc., etc. But so it was very successful for ASUS. I'm just not sure how successful it was for Xbox.
In terms of like they're furthering their goals, or from a revenue point of view?
From a revenue point of view, you see, that's another thing. Until we see numbers, we can only just sort of like speculate to say, well, for Jesus, definitely it made their margins, it made their numbers. I think they probably released the same amount of those consoles as they did, like for instance, for say the ROG Ally, the original, or the X, but they probably had double the demand because now they also had a trickle down, not just of PC players, but they also had now a trickling in of players from the console, sort of like market who love everything. The guys that you always talk about, like there's always guys that are going to buy anything that's Xbox. So they probably got a huge influx of those, which really made their numbers look good. But for Xbox as a console making company in terms of hardware, I don't even know what the sort of margins were that they negotiated with Jesus, but I think this was a write-off experience for Xbox. I don't think Microsoft made any sort of gains from this. This was purely sort of like to just get the word out, or to sort of like a proof of concept for what they're trying to do in the future. But I don't see them making anything from this. I don't think there's any benefit aside from just getting the name out there and to say like we're coming. This is where we see ourselves going into the future. We're investing in this sort of direction.
What I think, the partnership was it was good, and I think it worked out well for them because it allowed them to actually get their application out to the public. And I think
Yeah.
that's going to act as a almost like a beta for them to see the feedback and then implement that application into their hybrid consoles going forward. I think it also shows Asus and other platforms that, hey, listen, if you put Xbox brand name on this, you will get a device that's probably going to outsell if you didn't have our brand name on it, right? So that's a possibility, and it builds a relationship, and it also lets other OEMs see that, like, okay, this device can work, like this can be a thing. If you want to make a handheld PC with Xbox on it, or if you want to make a console device with Xbox name on it.
No, I agree. I completely agree with you that, like, it's a lucrative look. It's like, even if you put like Sega on a PC back in the day, you would still get a lot of people that played Sega Dreamcast and whatever, wanting to buy that PC because of the fact that it has Sega's brand on it. So Xbox still has brand affinity. Excuse me, and there's a lot of customers that still want Xbox things. But I just don't think that that market is big enough to make a difference in the overall bigger picture of the PC market. I not at this stage anymore. I don't think it has any, and what I mean by that, compared to, like, say, Steam, who is the juggernaut.
All right, fair. That's not what Xbox's 2025 will be remembered for, sadly. Microsoft has been working overtime to sink its image, injecting AI slop into every product it has, laying off thousands while bragging about how much of its code is written by AI, and hiking prices of products to uncomfortable levels. Xbox Game Pass picked up a 50% price hike on the highest tier, and Xbox Series X and S hardware has become prohibitively expensive, leading to a free fall sales decline. Overall, do you agree? Like, well, let me start off with this one. I'm not crazy about looking at a company's or a parent company's obsession with different parts of the tech world, like AI. I think it's completely irrelevant to gaming. I don't know why people also look at layoffs as a indicator as to, from a gaming perspective, is something did well or not. Like, I'm a gamer, I want to play games, give me games and I'm good. So this idea that I'm almost going to downgrade a company's review because people got let go, or because the CEO was talking about AI, something that has nothing to do with me at all, I just think is bizarre.
Look, I don't think it's bizarre, but I do understand where you're coming from. And the reason I say I don't think it's bizarre is because of how we relate to things, right? It's like, for instance, I'll actually I'll give you an example, right? There's a lot of things that happen in the news, Ty, that don't really directly affect you or touch you, but because of the fact that maybe you like a certain show and you hear that a certain actor or actress did this and that, it does have an impact on you, or something was done to them. It does have an impact on you. Same with politicians. If your favorite politician did this or that, or your favorite party, something happened to them. I'm talking about politically now. You're going to have, or sports wise, it's how we relate to things. It's like, I'll give you an example, for instance. In I think sports is the best example. Is if, for instance, something, you care about the sports team that's on the soccer field and how they play, etc. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that even know who the technical staff is for that team. And as a result of that, when certain people get, removed from that team's technical staff, they have an opinion about that. Say, well, why would you take that guy away? That guy did this and this and this, and he's the reason that these people achieved these results. I think a lot of, gamers care in a similar fashion, if I'm making sense.
True, that's making sense, but that would never hinder my review. Like, it would never affect my review. Let me even flip it to you.
Of Microsoft?
No, of like Xbox.
I'll tell you why for me it bothers. I'll
hold on. Let me flip it to you. Imagine, like, Disney did some messy stuff. They went into AI, and let's say they became woke with Marvel, they became, they
That's
sue
a great
different
example. That's a
they sue
brilliant
different
example.
actors and actresses, for example, right? They signed off their IPs for some crap like that you don't like, yeah. But this is a Star Wars channel, and let's say they released amazing Star Wars content that you love, and or whatever, like Star Wars that was like more mature, more for people like us. It was amazing. And when you review all the Star Wars TV shows and movies, you're like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. You're gonna downgrade them because they signed off on their AI slop for Marvel, which is completely
But what did I?
unrelated.
Okay, fair question. But like, what did I love about Xbox last year?
Exclusive games or games.
What exclusive games? This guy.
What do you
I don't know.
love?
I think you had a couple of shots.
Yeah, a bit too much.
Like exclusive games. If they did exclusive games, I wouldn't give a crap. I would be like, yeah, well, oh, jeez, I'm sorry, bruv. I hope you land on your feet. But they didn't do anything for me, Ty. Like that's why I feel this way. That's why I'm like it bothers me. It's because of the fact that I'm looking at all these things. I'm like, this is why you guys are failing. It's because you're doing all this shit and you're not producing what I want you to produce. You understand what I'm saying? It's like all the stuff you mentioned is not particularly shit that's amazing to me because it's not an experience it's not an Xbox experience. It's games that they're publishing for everyone. So PlayStation players get to benefit from this. Everyone gets to benefit from this. Whereas as a guy that was invested in the console sphere and the console wars, if the situation was all these games, as I mentioned to you earlier, were all exclusive and they were doing these things, I promise you it would be so easy for me and majority of so-called Xbox and even the media to look the other way. Because I'll give you an example, case in point, Sony does exactly the same thing 6 months later. What does everybody do?
No one really seems to care. To just fall in
Exactly.
line.
Everybody looks the other way. Oh, Sony did what? I didn't see anything. Like, I don't know. They released Death Stranding. I love Death Stranding. I don't know what you're complaining about. You see what I mean? Is that it all comes down to what are you doing for your fan base?
Okay, fair enough. All right. That checks out. I mean, I think what you're saying is actually just echoing what everyone else seems to feel. But I'm just like, who cares? Like, I'm literally like, who cares, bro? Like, talk about the games. But anyways, let's move on. And it says, I suspect Xbox will want to put the negativity of the past year firmly behind itself, but it finds itself in a confluence of challenges, both internal and external. The storm will pass for the vast majority of Xbox gamers unnoticed, most likely. True. But for the wider audience, Xbox remains firmly under a microscope. One thing that we know for certain is what to expect from Microsoft's first party in 2026. At least generally speaking, Microsoft has had a lot in the chamber. It can fire up potentially in the coming months. But the headliners are set. Fable, Gears of War E-Day, Halo, Combat Evolved, Halo Campaign Evolved, and Forza Horizon 6. Microsoft often jokingly refers to this lineup as the four horsemen internally, representing what's arguably the four most iconic Xbox franchises. Questions? And maybe to Erechi or Fuzzy, you guys in the chat as well, and obviously to you, Ushers. Out of those four, Fable, Gears, Halo, and Forza Horizon, which one is the most important IP? Two, well, let me actually write this down so I can remember. One, which one is the most important IP? Two, which one is going to sell the most? Three, which one would bring more people to the Xbox ecosystem / like console? Like, if it was like, which is going to sell more consoles or bring more people into Game Pass?
Okay,
also,
number one.
Maybe I should just say players. Which is going to have the most players?
Number one, you said which one's going to sell the most. So I think when it comes to the Xbox platform, that's a non-issue in the sense that, like, because they measure in player numbers, they don't really measure in sales anymore. So in terms of the Xbox ecosystem, the one that's going to probably have the most players, I think, is pretty obvious. Is that the first question that you asked?
Well, no, the first one I said which one is the most important.
Okay, which one the most important?
Which game is the most important? And the caveat will be which one's which one's the most important? And I have more questions on that, but go on.
Yeah, so it's Halo, and our simple example. Phil Spencer said in 2020 or 2019 that if we can't do Halo, then we shouldn't be in the Xbox business. And guess what? He was 100% right.
Shut up.
They couldn't do Halo. They couldn't do Halo. As a result, they're out of the Xbox business. That is why Halo is the most important franchise to Xbox. Period. The only reason Xbox exists today is because of Halo. There would be no Xbox 360. There wouldn't be Xbox One. There wouldn't be Xbox Series X and whatever if it was not for Halo. So Halo will always be the most important franchise that they've ever created. And they've mishandled it at every single turn. Every single time they've had a chance to drop the ball, they have. They dropped the ball with Halo 5. They dropped the ball with the Halo series. They dropped the ball with the studios. I mean, like, it went from Bungie to 343. Now it's Halo Studios. So, yeah. So Halo is if Halo fails, Xbox fails. And I think we see that. Which one will be the most... What was your second question?
Which one sells the most is, I know you said Game Pass, but remember, PC is still there, and also PlayStation. And I'm asking that because I think it's interesting to kind of think about it, like which one would sell the most on PlayStation then?
Out of those?
Yeah.
That's pretty simple, dude. Fucking Forza. It's weird because you would agree with this because you've said this to me that nobody cares about racing games. But for some reason, Forza seems to sell. Like, EA can't sell. EA, you saw like recently EA announced that they're discontinuing the Need for Speed series or franchise. Like, they're shelving it permanently. And they've dissolved those studios. And those were brilliant studios. It was studios that built games, brilliant franchises like Burnout, etc. They said they were doing away with all of that. But for some reason, Forza can sell 55 million players in a dying genre, in a genre that people don't consider popular anymore. And GT or Gran Turismo is the sixth best selling game is the sixth best selling PlayStation exclusive on their platform. And in terms of like lifetime sales, it's probably number 1 or 2 or 3. In terms of like, if you look at it from PS1 all the way up to PS5, it's probably number 3 in terms of how many games it's sold for PlayStation. So what I'm saying to you is that, like, yeah, obviously Forza is going to do the most business. Forza has got just like this wide stream appeal that for some reason everybody loves Forza.
Yeah. No.
So
I agree.
yeah.
Everyone seems to. Which one do you think is going to be the highest rated?
Forza.
Okay, I think Playground has a huge history of doing that. So, but real quick, Fuzzy says people will always pretend that racing games aren't massive for some reason. I never understood that.
But it's like Fuzzy. That's a good point. A lot of people believe that. Like people believe that it's like fighting games. People believe that fighting games and racing games are no longer relevant because we have battle royale now and everything is a shooter. Pew 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 pew. Nobody cares about racing. And I always say that, like, well, Forza and Gran Turismo disagree, but it's because of the fact that to get a racing game to be not good but to appeal to people is such a difficult thing. I mean, for Need for Speed as a franchise to fall out of favor with people means that you have to do a lot of things wrong, or you don't understand how to market or sell a racing game. And a lot of other franchises have died. The Grid franchise has died. You know, there's a handful. If you go back to I think the peak for racing games was the PS2. If you go back to the amount of PS2 racing games that you had versus the racing games that you have now, it's literally less than a third.
Okay. Here's the final question on this one. If any of these titles were to be delayed, which one will have the worst impact from a negative point of view? Like, which one can you get away with? And everyone's like, you know what, this one got delayed, but we got these other 3 and these other 4. So yeah, okay, it's not so bad.
On who? On who specifically? The audience or the company? Who?
Let's say Xbox as a whole, like its image.
I think obviously it's probably Forza. Sorry, man, it's probably Fable, because it's been in development forever and people are just impatient now. They just want to get something out. Sorry, going back to the question you asked about the rating, which one is going to be rated the highest?
Yeah, and you said it was you said Forza.
I said Forza because it's pretty much it's been Xbox's highest rated franchise since the Xbox One.
Yeah.
They've not had a game that's rated higher. The problem with Fable is that Fable is sort of like, we don't know what to expect.
True.
I think Fable is going to be Xbox. It's going to be similar to Indiana Jones. It's going to be an 8.5 game, but I think it's going to have very limited appeal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't see PlayStation players thinking that Fable is the shit. Fable is very niche. This is the thing, again, is that you can try and sell it to everyone, but it's very niche. It's a very particular type of RPG. If you want everybody to like it, then you're going to have to market the shit out of it. And I just think that, like, Xbox's marketing is always late. It's never on time. It's never like sort of like, it doesn't build up hype. They just start marketing just before the game comes out.
Okay, fair enough. But which one can you delay that you agree?
Which one can you delay?
Yeah, that everyone's gonna be like, well, we have these other 4, so it's okay. Or these other 3.
Gears of War.
Okay, that's interesting, because I was actually thinking to myself that to delay Halo would be bad, because you already can't, like, it's your big, huge masterpiece, like it's your main piece, and you've already shown that's coming to PlayStation. And to kind of prolong that just seems weird to me. So I think that's gonna have an effect there. However, I think I'll say Gears of War. I think Halo itself, I don't know if that's gonna be a really great game, but I think Gears is going to be. Well, no, sorry. Let me take a step back. Yeah, obviously you can't delay Fable. You delay Fable, and that's going to be a disaster.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So I'll probably say Fable. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say you can't delay Fable. Yeah, you can't. The one you could probably get away with delaying, I think, is probably, I think, Halo. No, sorry. I think Gears, because just of that,
Yeah.
what it means. I agree with you. Yeah, there.
So my thing is with delaying Gears is that we
haven't seen it as well. We haven't seen gameplay, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
well, they said it was in-game engine, that stuff that we saw, but we haven't seen gameplay. You're right. And the thing is, Gears Reloaded did not land well with the audience that you're trying to court, which is not the Xbox guys, the PlayStation guys. So you need to sort of bring in someone to say, what is it that's not? Because I don't think it's because of the fact that it was a remaster of a remaster. I mean, we've seen that so many times where people are doing remasters of remasters. They sell like hotcakes. I really think it's a matter of, like, they just could not. If you're going to bring a franchise as significant as the Gears franchise to the PlayStation, you have to make a big splash. You have to make it a big deal. And you have to be able to say, well, we're not trying to sell this to Xbox guys anymore. We want to sell Gears to guys that play Uncharted 4. And this is the problem with Xbox. There's just no vision there, dude. It's just these guys. It's so boring. Like I look at the way that Xbox markets games, and I'm just like, they market it like they're marketing spreadsheets. There's no individuality in their marketing campaigns. There's no sort of like hunger to say this has to work. For me, I see Gears as a sort of franchise tire that can really, really move the needle in terms of as a publisher. It could be a game that could really blow people's minds, but it's got the right engine. It could be the best looking game of the generation. And that's when, the moment everybody says this is the best game of the generation, do you think PlayStation players are not going to stand up and take notice?
No, I agree.
But Xbox is not going to do that. They're just going to sell it as another third person. That's the problem with them. Like, there's just no energy, no enthusiasm in that studio for the same way that Sony just, like with Horizon. Horizon is such a boring ass fucking game. The protagonist is boring, but it's so shiny. It's so beautiful. You can't deny it. And they sell it with every single PlayStation. Okay. Xbox is not going to do that.
Before we continue on, Fuzzy says, fantasy RPGs are not niche ushers. What the hell are you talking about, bro? You don't know shit. So yeah, he's calling you out. Um, and
Uh,
Fuzzy says, delay anything that needs to be delayed. But when I asked him and says, which one do you think they can delay? That will do less damage. And he says, I don't think delays damage anything. They aren't trying to sell consoles either way. And I've heard that feedback
yeah,
before because they're not selling consoles. It doesn't actually
no,
like
no.
because I'll say one of the damages that happened to the Xbox Series X and S consoles because these games took so long to come out, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're not really trying to push consoles, then I think it doesn't really do anything anymore, anyways. Regardless, however, it will affect their margins, and I think from a brand or image point of view,
Yeah.
being inconsistent will damage your reputation, especially with Xboxes because they have a bad one. Would you call it any material changes, like from a financial point of view? No, not at all. So I agree with you guys there. Anyways,
So
continue.
I just wanna
Fire away.
respond to Fuzzy about the niche. But my specific point, Fuzzy, was Fable is niche, not fantasy RPGs in general, but Fable as a fantasy RPG is very niche. No one is checking for Fable, Fuzzy. uh, you might have a special affinity, and I think it was you or it was Raichi earlier on that says you know you like Fable, or Fable is something that is like that's meaningful to you. But Fable is a niche. Like it's been, even when during the 360 era, it sold okay. Like Fable 3 sold okay, Fable 2 sold well, but it's never been Legend of Zelda. It's never been Baldur's Gate. It's never been that game. There is no Fable that sold 10 million copies.
Okay. Microsoft will show off at least some of these at the January Developer Direct, a show which has become an annualized tone-setting event for Xbox yearly lineup. While I'm not sure exactly what will be shown there this year, it seems the four pillar franchises seem highly likely. Okay, we already know what's going to show up there. What do you think about the concept of the Developer Direct? Because at least for me, I don't think of any other showcase that's like it, and Xbox has basically been the one to pioneer it. Do you think it's you asking the guys earlier on, like, should we get rid of it because the third party now? Do you think other developers should actually pick it up? Like, should Sony start to think about it? Should Nintendo start to think about developer directs in the same way that Xbox does it, which is also having the developers actually talk about it? And we've seen how they can do it with different franchises because we've seen them do with Ninja Gaiden, right?
Yeah.
With Team Ninja. And I wonder, like, do you think the Japanese audience will like Nintendo to do these kind of things? Do you think the PlayStation audience will actually like to see these developers talk about these games in this kind of way? We kind of get it sometimes with Sony when they do it with the state of play. But how about it's something more specific, like a developer direct where they show off God of War, they show off Astrobot, etc., etc. What are your thoughts on that?
So that's a good question. Like again, I hate like you know most like I've got a history with Xbox, so it always sounds like I'm being negative about everything about Xbox. But that platform is brilliant, and Xbox's showcases since this entire generation they've knocked it out the park. They've done it. They're the only ones, in my opinion, that are still putting effort into those sort of showcases. And I think the evidence, if there was um, a competition for who has been the most consistent in terms of showing off their ways, Xbox wins hands down. From 2020 during COVID, they mastered this format. They give us the most, whether it's this developer direct, whether it's the June showcase, which has taken over from E3. They are the things that you look forward to in terms of like even for third party games. So to answer the second part of your question about like should someone else or the other parties adopt it, excuse me, I don't think there's any incentive for Sony, excuse me, or Nintendo to adopt it. Nintendo's audience doesn't care, because I think Nintendo's audience generally is a lot of casuals. If it's not casual, it's a lot of 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. They don't really care about this stuff. I mean, how much can you discuss about making Tamagotchi life? Because Nintendo makes games like Nintendo releases their big titles maybe once every 5 years, once every 3 years. In between, they have smaller titles that you can't have a showcase like this. It's a waste of time because their games are very, very simplistic in that way. Sony, nah, I don't think Sony cares. I think Sony is happy with these little what they call them, these PlayStation showcases, which to me are getting worse and worse. I don't think they're gonna change because Sony is in a position where they don't have to prove anything. And they're making their fans very much aware of that. Like, we don't care. We'll show you what we want to show you when we want to show you. However, who I think can benefit from this is EA. Ubisoft can benefit from this. All the big publishers can benefit from having these type of showcases.
Okay. Fair enough. Moving on. Some have been wondering if a mysterious countdown on Fallout TV show's Amazon Prime website is hinting at a shadow drop for a new Fallout game or remaster. I'm told this is not the case. However, we are eventually getting a Fallout 3 remake in the vein of Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, as well as a Fallout New Vegas on top. I'm told Obsidian of Grounded, The Outer Worlds, and Fallout New Vegas has 4 projects in the work, some big, some small. And with Fallout co-creator Team Kane also joined the studio a short while ago. So my take on this is, it was cool to have the Oblivion remaster. I think it was great. It did well for them. The Fallout 3 remaster or remake coming around this time, I think it's one of their blunders. I think as soon as Bethesda was purchased, they should have put someone on this game straight away. But they didn't. Go on.
Yeah, I just want to come in there. So, Ty, like, again, this is the kind of decision I don't understand from Microsoft. Just that whole setup. Like, Ty, you can make a remaster for Oblivion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Release it in 2025. You have no Oblivion shows or anything coming up. You telling me, because if I go back to, because when was the first Fallout released? 2 years ago.
Fallout 4.
No, the show.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
So you're telling me 2 years ago they didn't look at this and said, because even if they were in early development of the Oblivion game, it's not a brand new game. You're developing over old code. You're telling me they couldn't just say, you know what? Let's just halt this and let's fast track a Fallout 3 remake and have it out by the time the second season comes out. Like it's decisions like that I just don't understand, because now, I mean, you've seen the recent news that say that on Steam, Fallout, the player count is skyrocketed again. A lot of people are going now, like a lot of people are just watching the Fallout 3, which I'm probably gonna watch an episode because I'm trying to wait for it to finish, but I think there's 4 episodes, which is enough for me to sort of like, to put me in a position where I can wait for the last couple of episodes to come out. But all the people that are watching the show, they're loving the show so much, they're going to buy the games. You understand? Like, you telling me 2 years ago you did not have this foresight. After, if you remember, even during that show, the first season, there was a spike, and we had a conversation about this. There was a huge, viewer spike, player spike of the Fallout games that are almost over 10 years old, some of them. Let me ask you, why do you think they didn't do that? Why do you think they prioritize Oblivion remaster or remake than they did a Fallout 3 remake or remaster?
So I think what happened here was that there was no synergy between the TV show guys and the game guys. They almost saw them as separate. So this is where you need somebody who's business focused to step in, right? And Xbox, once they come in, the ones that came in, even though they knew, because remember, Bethesda is the ones who was doing the TV show. It wasn't Xbox pushing it. So Bethesda runs itself. They weren't thinking from a business point of view, but this is where somebody needs to step in and say, hey, this doesn't really make sense. How about you do it this way first so we can maximize profits? At some point, maybe the Oblivion one was already in the works, and it wasn't a case that you could just pivot straight away to Fallout. However, I think one of the main critiques that Amy Hood would have, or Satya Nadella would say, is that, okay, fair enough, but where is the Fallout 4 remaster? Maybe not a remake, but where is the remaster that reskins it and that you could sell to all these suckers who are watching the TV show who want to like buy it, because at least that way we can even charge a higher price. Because the way it is right now, these dudes are just buying the Fallout 4 version that's already cheap, right? And Fallout 76 version.
But my point is, Ty, like you are Xbox, you've got all these studios. You're telling me 2 years ago. I'm not saying stop the development in Oblivion. I'm saying you could have said, you know what, we're going to prioritize releasing Fallout 3 remake. The code is already there. We just need someone like Virtuous, who did the Oblivion remake, to just go and code over it. I promise you, they could have done it within 2 years because you're not building a game from scratch.
No. I'm not even trying to dispute that. But one quick one. Fuzzy said that like they want them to go to Fallout 76. The funny thing here is that I actually don't really think so. I think you can also walk and chew. I think they don't mind them going to Fallout 76 on the new game, because a new game is going to yield probably more profit overall, because they're buying new titles. So Fallout 4 remaster, and I think with Fallout 76, I think they might not engage in a live microtransactions. I guess my question is, how many of these people are high paying individuals, right? Do they go to Fallout 76 and start engaging in microtransactions? Probably not. At least that's what I would think, because I know people who are casuals who went to go buy The Last of Us. They're the kind of people who are going to start buying, clothes 100%. And skins.
And another thing is, like, the thing is with 76, it's a live service, MMO type experience. It's not like a pick up and play game. It's like it's not a game that casuals are gonna pick up, and it's not as easy to pick up and play, say for instance like Fallout 4. It's not as accessible. It's you sort of like, it's like with a lot of these like long running live service games, there's so many things that have happened or that have come before, and even the way the game plays, it's not very from point A to point B. Here's another thing, Tai. You saw that they released the main characters as skins for Call of Duty.
Yeah, I saw that actually, yeah.
So imagine, because you could have done this with Fallout 3, because Fallout 3 is such an old game, such shitty graphics, that you could have done this and say, you know what? Instead of just making Fallout 3 take place, I can't remember which vault it was, we're going to give you skins, and we're going to give you the main characters you can choose. You can either create a character or you can use the skins from, because all those sort of archetypes exist. There are ghouls that could look like forget the actor Walton Goggins' character in the series. There's vault dwellers that could be similar to the main character, and of course the guy with the power armor. All those characters we're going to give you. If you the main thing that we're selling this Fallout 3 on is the fact that you can have those skins. You can create your own character, or you can have those skins from scratch, or you can have those. They are available for you there, and then that's how you sell the game. You call it Fallout 3 Reloaded. You could even have it that it merges these two stories in some aspects. You do almost like a Final Fantasy VII remake type of thing, where you take some of those elements and some of those characters, and you have them be those ones from the series. And it would not. You've already built the game. You are just tweaking certain aspects and then just putting a nice fresh paint of content on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Your boy Fuzzy says they did exactly what you were describing, but they did in Fallout 76. But before, like, you and Ushers maybe go back and forth on that, my critique of them was that this the Fallout 4 the upgraded version should have been available literally when the TV show dropped.
Agreed.
Because you want people going back to it and seeing it in higher quality, in the best light possible. And for them to say like, oh shit, the TV show dropped and everyone's going to this game. Damn, we should. That just shows a lack of business foresight that I can't explain. Very, 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 very poor form from them. I can understand them, making Elder Scrolls Oblivion first, because hey, listen, we didn't know the TV show was going to be big per se, or certain things happen. We couldn't get enough people.
But Taye, you can always put that on the back burner. Like immediately after the show, remember we had this conversation after the show came out, before we even knew that Oblivion remake was being made. This was like 2 years ago. They could have said, you know what? Even in fact, they could have released Oblivion in the middle of the year and made sure. We thought, me and you, were under the impression in the beginning of last year that they definitely had something for Fallout 3, either a remake or a remember.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing materialized.
Yeah.
Except for Fallout 76. The problem with Fallout 76, Fuzzy, and I hear what you're saying, and I know that they did that. The problem with Fallout 76 is that MMOs, it's like, for instance, it's like comparing Elder Scrolls Online with Oblivion. What do you think most players are going to gravitate towards that are not hardcore MMO guys? They're going to gravitate to the Oblivion remake or remaster.
Mm-hmm. But just a quick one, because this is additional to the point. Jess also mentions that he understands that Fallout 5 has been greenlit. So I think what's interesting here is that there's Fallout 3 coming, there's Fallout New Vegas remake coming as well, and there's a Fallout 5 game coming. And I think my issue maybe with not Todd per se was that, like, if I felt like the Todd Howard team was hugging those 3 IPs: Starfield, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout. And I believe that the reason why this is not happening anymore, and obviously this is just speculation on my part, is because not even Xbox per se, but someone at Microsoft said, this makes absolutely no sense. Why is one guy or one team hugging these 2 IPs, Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and even Starfield? We can't wait 21 years every time, or 19 years just to play one of these new IPs. That doesn't make sense. So I believe there's probably pressure from Microsoft somewhat, via maybe finances, to the Xbox team to then put pressure on Bethesda to now actually start saying, listen, you gotta do something. And that's why we saw Tim Stewart. He's now the COO of Bethesda. And I think he's probably someone who's like, yeah, you ain't going to be playing around with me. We need to make margins. We need to make money. So the idea that one person hugs a game just isn't going to happen.
I agree. Like, the way that the Xbox studios were run is stupid to me. Like, the fact that, like, everybody had, like, this autonomy to do whatever the freaking hell they want. Like, that's nice if you are sort of if you run your company in such a way that you don't have 30% accountability margins to meet, then that's fine. But like, if you have like Amy Hood as like the person that's overseeing your finance, it's the most retarded way to run a freaking business, dude. Everybody just doing their own thing and not being accountable to the bottom line for the overall business/studio that you're running. It's silly. Why?
Mm-hmm. So to the next point, it says, at BlizzCon 2026, I thoroughly expect to see new expansions revealed for Diablo 4, alongside World of Warcraft's The Last Titan. We should also get major updates for Overwatch and Hearthstone, and potentially other new mobile game reveals. There has been a long-held rumor of an Overwatch mobile game on the horizon, for example, and I've heard another Warcraft mobile game project is coming. The headline for 2026 is most likely going to be StarCraft. It was previously reported that StarCraft is getting a third-person shooter treatment, and I confirmed these rumors true via my own sources a while back. So, not necessarily Xbox per se, but from Xbox's kind of beyond, you have a situation where he's saying that, hey, the mobile phone ambitions are still in track in terms of making games. So we're going to see an Overwatch game. We're going to see updates to the mobile section. And we're gonna see, updates to like StarCraft. There are other games, like Diablo, etc. But what do you think about this idea of a StarCraft third-person shooter treatment? How do you think it's going to be presented?
I mean, this is the game that Blizzard canceled like a million years ago with the blonde, beautiful chick. You remember that StarCraft Ghost? I would love to see it. If they get the right people to make it. Like, to me, I love my female protagonists. If they can get a female protagonist in there and build a nice third person, shooter game, dude, like the sky is the limit. I definitely am for that. I would love that.
Do you know? Is there any specific kind of way you want it to be presented, like Gears of War, Call of
Yes.
Duty?
So for me, if you asked me to build you a third person shooter today, you cannot build a third person shooter without a good cover mechanic. So the cover, you have to have that Gears of War slash Uncharted, more closer to Uncharted. Now you're doing this with a sci-fi shooter, right? And then the second element I would add is then you want to add elements from a game like Titanfall, where you have things like where you can wall run and shoot, where you can slow down time or freeze things, and then dodge while you're shooting. So you're gonna add like a max pain or slash control element, where there's like a time aspect that you can control. You want to have a cover mechanic, a la Gears of War, a la Uncharted. Then you also want to have wall running and all those sci-fi aspects that people hate of Call of Duty. All those things that Call of Duty does that everybody hates in Call of Duty are brilliant in sci-fi shooters. You want all those mechanics as well. And then you want a good writer that's going to write you a great science fiction story. And again, Blizzard had these guys. I mean, like StarCraft 2, man, still has one of the best sort of sci-fi stories when it comes to 4X strategy games. So you also want a strong writing team to write you a very, very good story.
Okay. I don't know anything much about StarCraft, so I wouldn't even know what it could be hinted at. Maybe Gears of War pointed to my mind, but I don't think that's going to be it. But yeah, I like some of the things you're saying. So for Bethesda's 40th, could we catch a glimpse of id Software's next title? It has been rumored for an incredible long time that it could return to Quake or Hexen. Now that all the rights fully exist within Microsoft's umbrella, Machine Games is also thought to be working on a Rainbow Six Siege-like multiplayer title, though I've heard that Wolfenstein 3 is on the cards to coincide with the upcoming Wolfenstein Amazon TV show. This is business now. The idea that, like, listen, they might have had plans to make something, but as soon as you're like, yo, guys, we're doing a TV show, it's like, okay, we can't be fucking around now. We gotta, actually target this really well. So I like to see that, like, they're at least improving from a business point of view. But what are your thoughts? Do you think would you want to see a Wolfenstein 3 first before a Quake or a Hexen game?
I would want to see Quake before Wolfenstein 3. Like, I'm sort of like, I've got Wolfenstein fatigue, man, and I just think Wolfenstein is like in our current economy, like in our current climate, like Nazis and whatever. It's too close to reality. Like when everybody's a Nazi in the real world.
Can you imagine? Too close to reality.
Yeah, like everybody's like, you go on Facebook, it's just Nazis. Like it's just, I'm so sick and tired of like that whole conversation. So I would say park Wolfenstein 3 for now, because the problem is, Ty, is that whoever's making that game and looking at if it's the same guys that made Indiana Jones, there's going to be loaded political messaging. A lot of people already had some issues with the messaging in Wolfenstein 2. So can we just stay away from that? I just don't want anything to do with real life bullshit in my games for now. So let's park Wolfenstein 3. I just see them not being able to do it, which I'm including baggage from the real world. And what's the other one that you said?
Sorry, that's some of these games are usually Bethesda's QuakeCon events. Wolfenstein 3, Quake.
Give us Quake. Take us back to Quake. Leave Wolfenstein. I would not touch Wolfenstein with a stick for the next 2 to 3 years until things just settle down and people calm the fuck down. I think for me, go back to Quake. That's a fantasy world far away from anything close to reality. Let's do that. Let's go back to Quake. Let's explore some of those. What was the last Quake 4 was not great, but let's explore some of the themes. Let's expand on those. It was decent. It was good. I enjoyed it when it came out on the 360. Let's make a sequel to that series. Let's go back to that world. Let's see what we can do with it in 2026. What innovations can we add?
Fuzzy says, didn't we start this show by talking about how everyone is just playing never-ending MMOs these days? Yeah. But hey, listen, that's where the money is, Fuzzy. So if you're, I mean, yeah, sure, gamers
Yeah.
want it, but some hardcore gamers don't want it. But the reason why they do is because gamers want it, and more importantly, that's where the money is. I'm not a fan of it, but I do like the fact that I can play Assassin's Creed and just go down, do new missions again. I don't really play games over and over again, so that's me. But moving on, perhaps some of these games will break over at Bethesda's QuakeCon events, but big reviews are often reserved for the Xbox showcase, as usual. Oh, actually, yeah, that means we could actually see that at the showcase instead, like the StarCraft shooter. It's possible.
I hope
as-
they do it. I hope they're working on that.
Mhm.
And it'll probably be a female protagonist. I'm almost sure 9 out of 10 times going to be a female protagonist. I hope she's cute though, like the original one. She doesn't look like. Yeah.
Okay. And perhaps some of these games will break over at Bethesda's QuakeCon events, but big reviews reserved for the Xbox showcase. As usual, Xbox will hold an event in June to coincide with the Summer Game Fest and the post E3 Summer Marketing Blitz. It's here where we should see glimpses at 2027 titles, which could include games like In Exile's Clockwork Revolution, Undead Labs' State of Decay 3, Arcane's Blade, and perhaps other hitherto unknown titles. That makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. I think you have such a stacked year. You don't need to kind of force any of these other titles to come out. So the Game 3 is probably 2027, 2028. And I think Clockwork is probably getting ready to probably finish up. So, give it the space it needs to drop in 2027.
I'm just thinking about this. Like, this is so silly. Like, if I look at how Xbox is positioned right now, Sony doesn't have much. Like, if from 2025 on, Tai, I put it to you, Xbox could literally release about 3 times the games that PlayStation releases. All they had to do was say a third of those games would be exclusive to Xbox up until the end of the generation, and they would have finished at a far better position than they would have now. But I just think it just comes down to they looked at, maybe they were smart enough to look at the future to say, well, with the rise of, and actually no, it's not a matter of like they're smart enough. It's because of the fact that they invested so much in AI, they knew that the company is not going to double down on hardware. But in terms of winning console wars, like if I just look at what you just said to me now in terms of like how many games they have, like in terms of what like just written here, Sony can't even come close to matching the sort of release cadence. Xbox could have crushed Sony. You can't release game after game after game for 3 years consecutively and still lose, dude. It's impossible. I'm a firm believer in that like they really fumbled here.
But I think they fumbled because all these games are just coming out late. Like if imagine if like this was a dead gen, and they're like, okay, 2026, that's when we're gonna launch the next Xbox, game, and then you have all these Forzas, Halo, Gears. I mean, you do better, but I think PlayStation has already solidified at that point, right? But yeah, and I think Blade coming in 2027 is good. Maybe my only iffy part about all this is that Fable is such a big game, and so is Gears, and so is probably Halo. That it seems like maybe State of Decay 3, Arcane's Blade, and Clockwork. I don't know if they're seen as the big AAA blockbuster game.
But it doesn't matter. Like the thing is, dude, if these are all games coming out on your platform exclusively, like it doesn't matter. You need the bigger games and the smaller games. That's how Sony used to release games back in the PS2 era. They had the big AAA games, or what you would call back then AAA, and they had the smaller games that people were fond of, but they all sold. But my thing is like now finally they have the cadence, but they decided to bow out of the war. That could have, I don't think they could have won, but they could have really, really brought it to Sony, and Sony would have not been able to keep up. It would have given them such momentum that when the next generation start, they're in a position where they can overtake Sony. It's just that they don't want to. They just don't think it's a feast. They don't want to do hardware. That's the thing with Xbox. Xbox is not interested in doing hardware.
I disagree, Bob. But yeah,
I mean, okay, like what hardware does what hardware does Microsoft currently make?
Well, how about you? The what?
What hardware does Microsoft currently make? And I know what you're gonna mention because like
Or
even
the hybrid?
no, not the hybrid doesn't exist. We don't even know what the hell it is yet. We're just speculating.
Series
What
X and
hardware
S?
currently? No, like Microsoft. What hardware do they make
Surface.
inside? And that's a good example. So can you compare the Surface to, say, for instance, the MacBook?
In what sense?
In the sense that, like, is it that sort of a hardware? Is it such specialized hardware, or is it just a variation of whatchamacallit, these what do they call these those mini book things?
Chromebooks?
It's just their sorry.
Chromebooks.
Yes, or what do they? There's another word for them, but like yeah, it's just their variation of that. It's not a MacBook. It's not that specialized. It doesn't have that sort of like it doesn't have that that unique sort of like custom feel that you get from what Apple produces.
Yeah, but in what sense? The hardware itself.
Yeah, the hardware, it's literally, there's very little to distinguish it from something being made that's similar from Dell or anyone else. Whereas if you look at a MacBook, then nothing's like a MacBook. Nothing works like a MacBook. Nothing works like an iPad. Nothing works like an iPad.
But then
So
that's like saying like Samsung doesn't care about hardware and neither does Huawei and all these other companies. Like
No. Samsung makes premium. Samsung's phones are like, you cannot compare a Samsung phone to, say, any other Chinese phone that's being made out there in terms of like the quality of the build, the screen, etc. It's very specific. The OS, very, very specific and customized specifically for Samsung. And you can say Huawei is maybe in that same bracket, but you can't classify a Surface like that. A Surface is not an exceptional whatever that.
But I feel like your point is almost is going against your initial point, because if you're saying that like, well, based on the fact that the Microsoft Surface hardware, first of all, it's considered a good hardware. You might not consider it the best hardware out there, but it's considered
okay.
Good. Yeah, but the fact that they keep releasing the shows that they do care about it, right? But also, if you're saying that like, well, it's not considered good, I would ask you this: which is the Series X and S considered bad hardware? Because everyone praises those hardware.
I would say to you, the best hardware that Microsoft makes is the Series X and S, and they're not planning to replicate that.
But I would say that if that's your argument, then it defeats your initial point, because they did make great hardware. Because you would say they don't care about hardware, but you just said there that they made the best hardware ever.
No, I'm saying that they don't care about making great hardware going to the future.
I don't know if that's true though.
No, I'm 100% convinced.
No, because their argument is like, they're telling people like, we want to sell you on our hardware. Like the hybrid console is going to be like a hardware. Like, I guess the question is, why would the hybrid console be bad?
Until we see what the hybrid console is, can we leave it out of the conversation?
Yeah,
because
sure.
I just feel that it muddies the water, because it's a nothing burger. There's nothing there. We're just listening. And the reason why I say that, Ty, is if the problem with them is that they say a lot of shit, and then, like, for instance, there was talk of a handheld for almost a year and a half, and then they decided, no, we're not doing that. So that's why I don't want to get into that whole hybrid thing.
Just because, like, even like a general review, people actually consider the Surface a very good device. They're like, yeah, it's good. It's
it's okay. It's alright. It's a premium. I forgot what they call these days. It's a fair word. No, what is it called?
2-in-1.
Surface. Look, I'm not saying it's bad hardware. I'm just not saying it's not exceptional. It's not something that I think whatchamacallit. It's not something I think that other people on the market are not producing better versions of.
The Surface is what the other companies base their own tablets off, as Fuzzy says.
Which companies, Fuzzy? Who bases, like, well, you mean Windows tablets? And again, like, how big is, like, who's checking for that specifically? Like,
but you see, I think this is actually one of the reasons why I think Microsoft makes Surface, because I ask people to tell me things like it doesn't make sense for them to be in the hardware industry, then I always say to them, okay, why? Because they're going to make money. I'm like, okay, what business reasons are you coming up with for that? They said, because they're everywhere. And I said, okay, but Windows is everywhere. So why the hell does Microsoft make a Surface device if Windows is everywhere? Like, it's basically just like Xbox, right? At this point.
Yeah.
And my next question is, okay, but why does Sony as well, right? They make mobile phones, but they're not the best selling. They're not even close.
It doesn't have to be best selling, but I'm just saying in terms of feature set. And
No,
like,
but then this is my point. Then, if Microsoft is still making Surface laptops, and if we come to the conclusion that the Xbox as an ecosystem makes more money than the Surface laptops, because the Surface laptops, I mean, yeah, okay, you might break even or sell them at a profit for margin, and everyone buys Windows, but that's a one-stop situation. And then they buy Office. At least with the Xbox out of things, you have third-party publishers, you have Game Pass, you have all these aspects. Why would they not make another Xbox device? If you're making Surface, why wouldn't you make an Xbox device?
But that's the thing, though. The Xbox relatively has been successful in terms of, like, if you compare it to other consoles that have come before, etc. But they're not making another Xbox. They're pivoting to PC.
Yeah, true. I mean, I have a pushback.
So that's what I'm saying to you, is that, like, they don't care about hardware. This is the most successful OS that you've ever had in terms of stability, is the Xbox OS. It works and it functions better than Windows ever will. It's specifically for gaming. But you're doing away with it for an app that sucks. Everybody admits that the app sucks. It's the main thing that's keeping the hardware that Asus developed for you behind. And you're abandoning the one thing that works for you. You're abandoning that to pursue. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, yeah. You to me, hardware is not a commitment that Microsoft really cares about.
Okay.
AI, I'll say this. Maybe they did, but AI is now their main focus. Everything is going to be about AI, and AI is going to be part and parcel, of course, of Windows. I mean, like, it's got premium design, excellent displays, performance, Windows integration, of course, AI. But the things I don't know much about the Surface. I'll go do research about the Surface just to understand in terms of, like, because I've got
I think if people look at the Surface, I think they'll understand Microsoft's. If you look at the Surface and also look at the pre-built PC markets, they take those two and they, like, look at how those markets work and why Microsoft is interested in making a Surface still, even though it's not one of the top tier laptops out there. They'll probably understand why Xbox makes sense. In fact, for Satya Nadella, going the way of the Surface makes more sense to him than what Xbox was doing in that moment.
Yeah, because you can integrate AI into it. That's all Satya cares about.
No, because before AI existed, he was already doing the Surface. So the question for him would be like, well, why did he cancel so much of the other side of the business and then keep the Surface devices?
Which side of the business?
What was the one he did? The music. Was it him that canceled the music? He canceled the streaming platform.
Yeah, but, like, all that's not hardware. That's all software.
No. I'm talking about, like, no. That's why I said business. It wasn't necessarily hardware. Just
like, look, I don't. So I know the guy that, like, was the innovator and the guy that invented the Surface, or that created the Surface, left Microsoft a while back when they sort of pivoted and they were changing strategies. This is around the same time when they announced that, so the whole them going third party. I think when he saw the vision, which was strictly based around AI, he bounced, because he saw that even with the Surface, they're gonna sort of, like, have diminishing investments on it going forward. But I'll do more research. Look, I don't know enough about the Surface to hate on it and to sort of understand where it fits into the grander scheme of things. So I'll do more research on the Surface and I can come back to you on that. Say, okay, cool. You know what? Yeah, this is what I think, or where I think the Surface is going to be positioned.
Okay, sure. We still got more to go through. So, I've heard Ninja Theory's next game will be more combat involved and interactive than Hellblade 1 and 2. while retaining the
Wait,
cinematic
what happened to
excellence.
your? Did you stop? Did I stop sharing? What happened like to the? Oh, I know what I did. I think I went and I searched Surface and then I closed that page. I just want to get back to your page.
Yeah, sure. Take your time.
Okay, but go on reading. It's fine. I'll catch us
Sure.
up.
I've heard Hit Ninja Theory next game will be more combat involved and interactive than Hellblade 1 and 2, while retaining the cinematic excellence of the studio has come to be known for. We also catch a glimpse of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 undoubtedly here, while Activision is eager to reconnect with the fans with Black Ops 7's controversial delivery. Call of Duty will also drop onto Nintendo Switch 2 this year as well, fulfilling Microsoft's promises to regulators. There are strong rumors that Age of Empires will return with a new title in the future too, powered by Unreal Engine, and we could also see more of Hideo Kojima's mysterious OD horror project this year. Any thoughts on that, or do you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
So, Hellblade 1 and 2 being more combat involved and interactive is the easiest fix you could have done to any of these Xbox studios. Playing Hellblade 2 and seeing how much they took away from the combat and turned it into a tech demo to express people's feelings and to express how they feel about the game, we want it to be more cinematic, is one of the, like, it's such a blunder to me. And it almost feels like a waste of money to some extent, that I'm sure my Booty and the other guys just weren't happy. I'm sure Booty or Tim Duncan told them, like, yeah, listen, if you don't cop on, you're gonna get shut down. There's margins now, so you guys have targets. And the thing is, and what I hate the most about talking to certain people about this topic, and this is primarily, I shouldn't talk to them anymore because they're just PlayStation guys who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. When you tell them that, hey, they need to become more open to combat and all these things like leveling up, they say, no, that's not what they're known for, that's not what they do. It's like, no, this is what they're known for. They made Devil May Cry, they've made Odyssey, they've made all these action-oriented games. And if the rebuttal that you want to say is, well, that was a long time ago, the guy who made all those games, the combat director, he made Hellblade 1. And Hellblade 1 is more combat focused than Hellblade 2. I don't look at Hellblade 2 and think Hellblade 2 is a natural progression from Hellblade 1. Hellblade 2 is a sidestep that focuses more on the cinematics. You've taken away the kick, you've taken away cancel and block, you've taken away different abilities to do, all because it's not as, you want it to be more cinematic. You're taking away the multiple, like when you have multiple enemies on screen, the reason why you do it is because it forces you to think, to navigate different dangers. It adds more tension. And these guys took it away because they wanted to focus on 1v1 battles, which looks cinematically better. As far as I'm concerned, somebody came to them and just told them, yeah, this isn't going to fly anymore. We're not going to sign off on this kind of crappy stuff. You need to bring in margins and these games need to sell well. So I expect something God of War-esque. Not like Ragnarok, but maybe like 2017. And I expect it to be more streamlined. I expect the puzzles in the game to also be much better. When you read up on on how the puzzles worked in Hellblade 2, they wanted the player to feel how somebody with psychosis will feel. Unfortunately, that leads to crappy puzzles. People need to remember it is a game. Not everything has to be like for like. There's a reason why when you play Call of Duty or Battlefield, especially Battlefield, they're not trying to be realistic. They might be more realistic than Call of Duty. They're not trying to be super realistic because it's probably not going to be a fun game. And I think at some point Ninja Theory forgot they were making a game, and they ended up making something that is just something that fulfills somebody's fantasy of making a movie. Bro, go make a movie. Go to Disney, go to WB, hit them up and tell them about your story, and then go make a CGI movie. But if you're making a game, you're making a game. Anyways, Fuzzy says other companies use the software as a reference design. It's kind of like how your GPU market works. Other companies basically make variants, and Microsoft sells them the software. This is correct. Fuzzy knows his things. Fuzzy also says the combat was still really good in Hellblade 2. No, it wasn't. It was the rest of the game that was kind of boring. No, the combat was trash. The combat was it was bare bones. There was nothing to do with the combat. It was terrible. The combat was trash. Because here's my thing, Fuzzy. You take that combat and you put it into different games, it just doesn't work. It's not good. The visuals is what allowed it to feel like it was good. Because I was entertained by watching it, but the combat is just basic. Like, it's so simple. In fact, they probably put way more time into the animations and how the combat looks than how it actually feels, because you could tell like they just didn't really care about the combat. And I noticed, I've read quotes. They were talking about how they wanted every movement and every strike to feel like cinematic, and apparently the reference points was the Battle of the Bastards when Jon Snow was fighting people. So they like the idea of chaos around you, and one person is fighting. Like that was their template.
Horrible.
And I'm just like, bro, but that's a TV show. Like, why are you using that as a template? You use a game.
And on top of that, Ty, it's one episode of a TV show with a far more dynamic elements. You want to base your whole game around. It's not even one episode. It's literally 15 minutes of an episode. You want to base your whole game on that?
Exactly. My critique of Ninja Theory has always been, you're not the only studio that likes to make the game feel cinematic or whatever you want to call it. Studios that have done a very good, effective job at doing this is Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog is able to incorporate. They've made Last of Us feel like it is a game, but it also feels like an interactive game. God of War, Santa Monica has also done a decent job at making God of War feel more cinematic than the previous games. What Hellblade 2 to me has done is that they failed because they went all the way to the right and forgot that this was actually a game. What they made was a tech demo. And I've always said this before, if Hellblade 2 came out as a day one launch for the Series X and S, I think people will be a lot more it will still be a demo, like it still be like a crappy game or whatever you want to call it. But it would be like, okay, you know what? It's a showpiece for the graphics of the device. The fact that it came out 4 years later is a problem. Fuzzy says, I really like the cinematic combat. It would work better if it was just a few big parts of the game, though, and the rest was more free flowing. I mean, listen, I could agree to that to some extent, but you still need the combat to be more interactive. You still need to be able to chain attacks together properly. You still need to be able to like kick. You still need to be able to like maybe run and jump on the enemy like MMA style, and then you maybe go into the punching scene. You still need other enemies to be around you to make the game feel more tense. You still need maybe even like different project. Like you need more in the game for it to feel like a game.
I agree.
And the next thing here was OD. So we could see Hideo Kojima's OD, which has been, it's been in production for some time now. Ushers, what are your thoughts on Kojima's Xbox OD, this interactive kind of game movie situation that we're going to see?
I don't give a crap about that, dude. Like that's gonna be trash. That's gonna just be a trash. Like I'm not checking for that in like why like for me. Okay, let me just say this. Let me be polite. It's not for me. It's not marketed me. It's not targeted me. Kojima's games with good graphics, with all the stuff I like, already have like stories and stuff that's already very hard to sort of like swallow if you're a person that just doesn't like heavy themes in your games and too many sort of abstract things as well. Whenever he's shown off this thing, I looked at it and I say, I don't care about this. This is not something I'm checking for. Um, it's gonna be another. Do you know what it is? It's gonna be another Hellblade. If you ask me honestly, it's just gonna be another Hellblade, and I don't care about that sort of experience. To be honest with you, when I play games, I want to have actually engaging gameplay. I'm not necessarily interested in learning things and psychology. I don't care about that stuff. Like I hate it when people just overthink concepts or overthink things. It just becomes pretentious. And what that looks like, it looks like Kojima got a whole lot of free money from Microsoft and he did something. He went all out and made a pretentious project. Meanwhile, he's making Metal Gear for Sony. It's so stupid. Like, it's just typical. It's so typical.
Everyone takes a piss out of Xbox, right?
Like it's just taking the piss.
Let's experiment with these guys. Yeah.
Yeah, he's making Sony a proper game. He's making a Metal Gear for Sony, something that will probably look like this. And meanwhile, with that OD thing, it looks like the graphics look crap. The concept I don't get, nobody gets, because we've only seen just like abstract things. So he's experimenting with Microsoft's money. So for him, I hope it works, but I am not checking for it personally.
One of the things I'm at least looking forward to in with the Kojima title OD is that I trust him more that because when he had the opportunity to make something that's not really game like, he made Death Stranding too. As much as people think it's a walking simulator, it was still a game. You could still say it's a game. Whereas I think Hellblade 2 is not a game. Like I generally do.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it turned out to be a game?
Because I think Kojima is still a gamer. I think he likes games. I think he wants to elevate the medium.
But like, you remember the first announced trailer for Death Stranding?
Mm-hmm.
It blew everyone's mind away. It looked amazing. The graphics, everything was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That OD shit was a girl screaming. That's the first freaking thing that we saw of it. What's the difference between the two?
You're right. Okay, so I think the thing with OD is that they haven't really done much on it. I think we haven't actually seen how it looks or how the gameplay is like, so we can't really compare. Really, at least that's like my take on it.
But then I'll ask you again. So this is a new project for. You've got your own company. You've left Konami. You're making your own game. So you're making Death Stranding. There's only one difference for a specific company. The first thing you present blows everybody's mind away, and everybody already has images that are like, wow, this could be this could be that. We don't even know what it is yet. First thing that you show us for Company B is a freaking. Everybody's like, okay, we'll wait and see. There's no excitement. There's no sort of like, wow, I want to see more of that. What's the difference between the two presentations? Because we had early footage, basically what I'm saying, of Death Stranding, and everybody was blown away.
Mm-hmm.
People have early footage of whatever. What is it called? OD. Nobody cares. Like, everybody's like, okay, it's okay. It's Kojima. That's the only thing that people say. It's Kojima, so it's going to be interesting. What's the difference between the two?
I think I would say that Death Stranding was probably further in, and it was his main thing that he was working on. Whereas OD was, I think he was working on Death Stranding 2 already. Like, it wasn't really his main forte. But don't get me wrong. I think the trailer, you're right. The trailer for Death Stranding is a lot better, and that it shows the world environment, whereas OD just shows characters' faces interacting.
But no, I'm asking you. But like, what is the Okay, so that's the fundamental difference that we've all seen. So this is the latest trailer that was released 3 months ago for OD. I just want to share it here.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see, stop sharing.
I'll read Hot Fuzzy's point again. He says, I really like the cinematic combat. It worked better if no. It says, imagine how cool that kind of combat would be in a few big moments in games like Ghost of Tsushima. Ninja Theory has every single ingredient in place to go toe-to-toe with Santa Monica and Sucker Punch. And I say that because they have the cinematic prowess and they have the technology. And they know how to make action adventure games. They've done it before many times. And the reason why they're not doing it right now is because they just have some people in charge who just like, some people would say like sniffing their own farts or whatever you want to call it. When Guerrilla Games was making Horizon, and they realized that they were going to be weak in some parts because Killzone is a single player first person action game, shooting game. They went to go and they knew they were going to make Horizon, which is going to be an open world RPG. They went to go get, and they didn't know how to write stories. They went to go get, I think, a guy called Gonzalez. He's a writer for Fallout, so they could write good stories. And then they went to go hire people from Rockstar, and I think and then the GTA team to make an open world. And the Witcher team, I think, to make a open world game. When you're short on skill in a specific field, you go hire the right people, and that will allow you to make an amazing product. That's why we got Horizon Zero Dawn. So anyone who's tries to think that like, hey, listen, we don't think Ninja Theory can do it, they can. They already have the combat prowess. They just need to hire the right people to help them take it to that next level. But again, when you have people in leadership who care about making their own art as opposed to making what's probably good for the company, you get titles like this. And I said it before, but Microsoft looking down on Xbox and putting pressure on them from a gaming perspective is probably one of the best things that could happen to Xbox, because now these studios actually need to make titles that will sell and will bring in money. And there's a correlation between a game making a lot of money and a game doing well from a critic point of view, or in most cases, or some cases anyway. Anyways, Ushers, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Fuzzy says, I don't care about horror or Kojima, so this definitely isn't for me. I'll check it out if it's on Game Pass at some point, assuming it doesn't get more expensive by the time it comes out. Cool.
I just want to compare the two, and then like I know the answer to this, and you're not saying the thing. You're saying everything but the thing. But I just want to show you the reveal trailer for Death Stranding, and I want to show you the reveal trailer for OD. We'll start with OD. So this is the OD reveal trailer. I'll even play the audio.
The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale and started vending and quacking.
The hungry purple dinosaur ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale and started vending and quacking.
The hungry purple dinosaurs ate the kind zingy fox, the jabbering crab, and the mad whale, and started
Sorry, I'm just gonna lower the resolution.
vending and quacking.
Unfortunately, for some reason, the quality is not translating. So that's that. But like, unfortunately, I don't know why the quality is for some reason very poor. So I've cut everything out. Then I want to show you the reveal trailer then for this is our show. I want to show you the reveal trailer for Kojima's other project, Death Stranding. This was the reveal trailer for Death Stranding, right? I think we can just pause a bit.
This isn't Death Stranding.
No. It's not Death Stranding yet. It's a pity. I hope, because I don't know. Sometimes I think the codec for this streaming site, it has problems processing certain type of formats of videos, because some play very well, some play just poorly. Like that one, they didn't play
Are
very
you playing it via YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is definitely directly from YouTube. So here's the Death Stranding one, and then you'll tell me what the difference is. I hope this one plays better. And you tell me which game you want to play.
Faintly, I'll go. To take this head on. Soon I'll come around. Lost and never found. Waiting for my words. Seen but never. Buried underground. But I keep coming.
So again, the trailer I played for OD was actually from 4 months ago. This was the initial reveal trailer. The trailers that came after this were even way better. But just that comparison, out of those two games, which game would you more likely want to play?
One looks like a potential game. The other one looks like a more of a concept of something that is artistic and strange. One of them
You
has
mean like Hellblade?
yeah, but no, but Hellblade did look like a game as well too at some point. And plus, we knew it was a game, right? Because we played Hellblade 1. I think having your man there. Why are you showing that? Them kissing.
I don't know.
I think having your man there kind of gives out the protagonist vibe as well, and he's standing, so you can always move him around in this, and it shows a world that's interesting. Like there's a lot more cool concepts here, and it shows, and it's more of a game. Whereas unfortunately with OD, it's just a black screen with someone's face.
What's
talking.
the difference?
Well, one of them is not even. I don't know what the second one is. Like it's some kind of weird
Like
concept.
exactly. But like both of them were we like we didn't know what the freaking hell what Dead Stranding was or what was gonna be. But let me just point it out. Let me just say this is the elephant in the room. One is made by a company, Sony, PlayStation, who does cinematic games. So they give you a cinematic experience, and immediately you know that it's something that's going to be worthwhile and worth your money. The other one is made by a company that people take money for to just experiment and see, like let me see if I can make my artsy fartsy project. And that's the problem with Microsoft, that most of the time it's got nothing to do with doing what something for the players, what players want to see. It's always got to do with the vision of the creator. The creator wants to do this, and
Yeah, I
none
agree.
of the shit, most of it never makes it to the finish line.
No, I agree. I think Xbox needs to step up for sure on that front. And you're right. The Chinese trailer is far superior to the OD trailer. I'm just hoping the OD trailer is actually good and innovative. But
Look, it's Kojima. It's going to be interesting concept, but I think it's going to be such a high concept. I think he's really going to take more chances than he would if he was using Sony's money.
Yeah, true. I mean,
and it's unfortunate, but that's how it is.
Because I wouldn't mind a game in a Death Stranding world that's like more action focused, stealth action. But yeah.
But he loves homoerotic shit. You're right. He loves like naked dudes. I mean, like and all these funny things. Like this is why I loved Kojima's games when I was growing up, and the older I've gotten, I'm very wary of his stuff. I think he's very self-indulgent as a creator. And to me, video games to me are not a self-indulgent art form yet. I prefer people who are trying to be the next Spielberg, the next Michael Bay, the next Christopher Nolan, more than someone that's trying to make an art house movie or an art house whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I bought Death Stranding 1, but I've not gotten that far because his stuff is so self-indulgent. It's really, really, especially when with Metal Gear, you could still tell he was working for a company, Konami, so he had to reel himself in. But with Death Stranding, you could tell that he's doing what he wants to do. It's his game.
Yeah. What game is on the screen?
I'm not sure. I have no idea. This is the same trailer that was playing the. Is it? Let's see. Is the trailer that was? Oh no! This is the top 30, so I'll just rewind. This is the top 30, I'll tell you.
No, it's
a game called what is it called?
But I'll keep reading anyway. There's also plenty of unknowns. Xbox Publishing still has plenty of secret projects. Xbox large-scale stable of service games will doubtless get major updates this year, including Minecraft, Grounded 2, Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, and the King mobile franchises. Could we also see Toys for Bowl's rumored Spiral this year? What is the mysterious and overlooked elsewhere entertainment Xbox team working on? Perhaps we'll find out in 2026. Wow, there's actually a few things there. First of all, from a live service point of view, you probably don't really care. But Fallout 76, Grounded 2, Minecraft, Elder Scrolls Online, and the King mobile phone franchises. What's your take on those entities?
Name the games again.
Oh, the live service games like Grounded 2, Fallout 76, Minecraft, Elder Scrolls Online. What's your take on Xbox? You don't care?
About all those games that you mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Grounded fan. I finished the first Grounded, got all the achievements. I didn't care for it. It's okay. Like the only reason I finished this is because I was playing it with a bunch of other guys that really loved the game online, but it's not my type of thing. Fallout 76, I've never touched it. I don't know what it's like. What's the other one? Elder
Scrolls Online.
Nah, I tried to play it with a friend. The graphics were horrible, and the gameplay is that janky online gameplay. It doesn't play like Skyrim. It actually plays worse than Oblivion. So yeah, I was not a fan of that.
Okay, but what about Xbox Publishing? So this one I think is interesting because I always you sign up for
Trench Tales is the game.
Sorry, cool, thanks.
It's called Trench Tales. Yeah, the game that you're asking about.
Mm-hmm. So Xbox Publishing was always in an interesting position because for them to get the publishing, they will probably need you to be on Game Pass, right, and exclusive to them. But at some
Yeah.
point, Xbox became more open to just publishing games. Now the requirement
of course,
is still
that's
Game Pass and Xbox and Play Anywhere. However, now that it's not tied to the Xbox console or ecosystem, and you can put your game on Sony, do you see a situation where Xbox, as a publisher, the publishing arm, wants to actually get more involved, and they do get more involved in publishing more games that could be on different platforms?
How is that different from how they're doing now, though?
Well, I think that okay, true, but I think the difference here is when they publish their own games, that's different. But if this is like Xbox now going to third parties, so for example, there's that game that came out on Xbox some time ago about a group of it's not like a mobile game or like a kind of like painting
I know what it's
game.
called, but I finished it. The cartoonish looking game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
Yeah, no,
Xbox
no,
can
I know. What it's called.
Yeah, so that's what I turn around to those kind of developers and say, hey, you know what? It was a time exclusive. That was the deal for the publishing, and
Yeah.
also for the for High on Life, it was a time exclusive. That was for the publishing, and maybe even for the Pokemon like game, Power World or whatever it is. But hey, we're kind of third party now, so how about we just expand? And would we get more developers coming to them saying, hey, what deal are you guys willing to give us for publishing? We put the game on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox and Nintendo. Do you anticipate more publishing?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, sorry, I was looking for this game. It's not the Quarry, not Decibel. Life is Strange. Tell me why.
Why do you like Grounded, Fuzzy? Like, what's so good about the game?
Dusk, the Quarry. I can't remember what the name of that game was. Jeez.
Are you talking about the Xbox game from the third party with the painting?
Yeah, because I finished it, and it was interesting. It was a great story, very well written. It's just that it was the way that the graphics and everything were kind of crap. It really felt like a low budget affair, but the vision was good. Like, it was a great story. So you were saying, sorry, just ask me the question again. And
do you anticipate Xbox selling more publishing more games from different third-party publishers? Sorry, from different publishers as time goes on.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what Ninja Gaiden 4 was.
Yeah, do you anticipate more?
Yes, absolutely. I think they're gonna do
Okay,
more.
god damn. That's the question like 5 times.
My bad. But yeah, they're gonna do more of that. I can see them doing more of that. The one thing that's good about Xbox is that they seem to be very open with having having relationships with other. Actually, you know what? That's actually a good question. Under the current leadership, I think there's going to be a directional change. I don't think they're going to be as enthusiastic to do that, if it means them absorbing the risk, unless they know it's a surefire thing that's definitely going to sell. But I don't see them taking chances on projects like Ninja Gaiden for a game, because that was a sizable investment, and I think it flopped. I think Ninja Gaiden bombed really badly, even though it was
Really?
well received and the game was good. I enjoyed it, but I think it flopped. So I don't think they're going to take major investments like that. They'll help with the publishing, but they're not going to absorb the majority of the cost, especially for bigger games.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so they'll just publish as opposed to funding the development of the game.
Yeah, no, I don't see them funding like they did with Ninja Gaiden. I think the thing is with Xbox is very risk adverse. Something fails, then they're not going to do it again. And unfortunately, as great as Ninja Gaiden 4 was, and its Platinum's was back on form, and I was so happy for Platinum to have released such an awesome game, but it flopped.
The game you're talking about is As Dusk Falls.
Yes, As Dusk Falls. I finished As Dusk Falls. Did you finish it?
I didn't get a chance to finish it in the end. I was gonna finish it on Game Pass, but I got busy.
You know
with
what?
other stuff. Mhm.
Since we don't do a lot of multiplayer, we need to do either it says Dusk Falls, these Telltale type of games, because
Yeah.
most of them are multiplayer. You can play multiple times, and then how they do it is that like you sort of like get to make, because how they do it, like it's not like you don't have real gameplay
Mhm.
where the situation is, but you have to be more than 2 players. I think you have at least 3 players.
Yeah, I think so.
Because
Yeah, you can make
it's a
decisions.
decision thing, right?
Mhm.
And then it's sort of like if both of us vote for a specific decision and then we go that way and you vote against it, it's very fun. It's very nice to see the outcome. So if we could get a couple of other friends along, that would be awesome to try out and do
Cool.
one of those games.
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
So Fuzzy says Grounded just has a really satisfying progression.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the. It is Torag. I was just about to say I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking this is Torag.
Yeah, it's Torag. Yeah.
But it looks like a multiplayer bullshit thing. Is it single player? What is it?
I don't think so.
I love
No, it doesn't
Torag.
look as
I have
good.
such fond memories of Torag. I really hope it's not some bullshit multiplayer thing.
Looks good, yeah. Grounded just has a really satisfying progression. You're always unlocking and upgrading new cool weapons and tools. I spent a shitload on time building zip lines to every new one on the map. My biggest complaint about Grounded 2 is that they haven't implemented a zip line yet. So Fuzzy likes Grounded a lot. I've never like looked to play it really, but I guess it's one of those games that it's fun. Actually, it's probably like it could probably be popular on Nintendo, I'm sure, right?
That's the thing. Why have they not published these games on Nintendo yet? Has Grounded 2 is the first Grounded on Nintendo?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I believe it is. I think the second one might be on Nintendo as well.
It's definitely a Nintendo type game in terms of everything, whatever it is. Like look, there's nothing wrong with the game. It's well designed, well made. It's just not my type of game. I just got really sort of like,
Is this a live service game?
These are several different games. There's like 30 games that were supposed to come out between 2025 and
No, but
2026.
the game on the screen right now, is it live service?
Yeah.
Or is it single player?
I don't know, to be honest with you. These are like 30 different games, so
Okay.
I'm not sure which one this is.
Before I move on, do you think PlayStation is going to publish more? So by
No.
response, well, let me calm down. Let me give you what I'm trying to say.
Sorry, my bad.
So the first thing I looked at here is
Let's see what-
PlayStation has technically published a game on Xbox now. Well, they published MLB The Show, and they've now published Helldivers 2, which is made.
Helldivers 2 was officially the first game that they wanted to publish. With the other one, they were strong-armed into doing it.
But it made them money still, right? So that's two they've done. Now, here's the part I think is interesting. They're probably looking at it and saying to themselves, okay, we got Stellar Blade coming. And Stellar Blade released on PlayStation, we published it. But they didn't have to publish it because remember, they avoided publishing it on PC. Death Stranding, they avoided publishing on PC. And so they can avoid publishing games on PC. But for some reason, they chose to publish Death Stranding 2, Stellar Blade on PC. Where do you think most of the money came from Stellar Blade? PlayStation or Steam?
That's a good question. I would still say PlayStation. No.
Really?
Steam sold reasonably. I think
Steam was a higher sales. Yeah. Yes, they announced it.
Is it that Steam outsold the PlayStation version?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
It's my best, dude. I wouldn't disagree with that. Last year it was my most played game, and I bought the most premium version of the game with all the dresses. I bought it for all those cute dresses.
Yeah, Stellar Blade does hit its performance on Steam, but researchers is novelty of playing PlayStation games on PCs were enough. I saw something data ever like they said it themselves.
Yeah.
Or I can't remember. Okay, I could be wrong there, but like, yeah, it's so well on Steam. Yeah, so Sony got a nice chunk from that. The next example I'll give here is this: From Software, made Elden Ring, as we know, and From Software, and Bandai Namco published. They published Elden Ring, correct? And they make a lot of money from that. The question is, why would Sony look at them and say, "Yo, we made money from MLB The Show on Xbox. We made money from Helldivers 2 on publishing on Xbox solely, and we did this deal with we're doing a deal with one of these China hero projects, I believe." And the developer came out and said, "No, the game is multi-platform, but Sony is providing, like, I think the publishing and marketing, but they're actually publishing a game, or at least they're marketing a game, that's going to be on the Xbox storefront. I'm not too sure if it's publishing. I should double check that. But I guess my question here is that if you could publish, a Elder Ring 2 and make a shitload of money in the process, why would you say no? And at what point does these publishers, Sony and Xbox, have to think to themselves, the reason why we published was because of some arbitrary kind of line we created that, like, if we want to publish a game, it has to be on our platform. But now we're experimenting, we're doing it with different platforms, and we're making money. Yeah. Do you anticipate Sony saying, you know what, let's start dabbling in this a little bit more as well?
Like, you need to rephrase that question. Like, just ask the
directly.
To, like, what
do you see Sony publishing more titles on different platforms potentially?
Well, I mean, like, by different platforms is like Nintendo, maybe.
Xbox, PC.
Xbox is gone for the, like, I don't even factor Xbox in for the foreseeable. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really factor in, because to your point, it's just going to be PC. There's not going to be a version of the game for Xbox. It's just going to be the PC version of the game, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they're not going to have that, like, if I read everything that they're saying, is that the only thing that's going to differentiate PC from the traditional what is it? Sorry, the only thing that's going to differentiate the next generation Xbox from the from PC is going to be the fact that it can play Series X and Xbox One games. So I don't really consider them. Nintendo, it will depend. Like, Sony and Nintendo have had an up and down relationship. Even now, Sony will not go all in on anything Nintendo. They're still competitors. The Sony still considers them a competitor, and they will never go all in on anyone else that is making the same thing that they are doing. So no, PC definitely, I see them. As I said, their kryptonite is Steam. That Steam money has got them really sort of thinking some kind of way, or feeling some kind of way about how they publish games. To your point, the first Death Stranding was published by 505 Games on PC. The second Death Stranding is going to be published by Sony. Same with Stellar Blade being published by Sony on that platform.
So do you think the second Death Stranding is going to be on Xbox? And do you think Sony is going to publish it as well?
No, I don't think they're going to. I look, if it's going to be published by Sony, it's not going to be on Xbox. I don't think so.
You think so?
Yeah. No, I don't think Sony.
I guess my question is, why would Sony say no?
I don't think Sony wants to publish single player games on Xbox platforms, on their direct competitor.
But why? They did it with
I don't know.
Well, I mean, they did it with Nintendo with the Horizon game, right?
It was a Lego game. It wasn't the real Horizon. Why didn't they put the real Horizon on there?
Okay.
Because again, that's a shared franchise. Yes, it's Horizon, but it's still Lego. It's not their thing. It's not their franchise. They're very, like, Sony is not like Microsoft. They don't look at things from a blasé perspective, or it's just an IP. It's very specific as to what that IP represents. That stuff matters to Sony, unlike Microsoft. Brand identity is very important to Sony. Otherwise, they would just go and put everything right now, day one, on PC.
Fuzzy says the MLB publishes Xbox version of MLB The Show. I don't think so. I think no, I think Sony does as well.
Really? I'm not sure. I wouldn't know.
I'm pretty sure they do. But okay, and the Fuzzy says, I wouldn't be sure that Sony will be publishing the sequel. They don't own it.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it comes to Xbox, they'll probably ask 505 to publish it on Xbox. But I don't see Sony publishing Death Stranding on Xbox.
Okay, I think that's an interesting one. We'll see. Let's go on to where is oh did I
Yeah.
cancel the page? I did. Oh, I did. Sorry, it seems like I might have deleted the page. I need to get it back.
I've got it, but like it'll just
No, I got it. I got it back. I just need to go to the right section. Perhaps some of these games. Um. Okay, yeah. So I already wrote an article. Oh, actually, well, Toys for Bob, and Spyro. You think we'll see that this year?
but possibly because they haven't made a game in a while, and they've got to deal with Microsoft. So definitely we might see that this year. But yes, so that's a full slate. Yeah, that's a pretty loaded slate for Xbox. But yeah, we might. Since they're third-party publisher, it's not coming. It's not all coming to one platform. They just have to balance their marketing as to how they spend that money and what they sell where.
Okay. What about Elsewhere Studio? It's the studio from Activision Blizzard. It's meant to create a brand new AAA narrative-led genre-defining game.
I don't believe any of that shit. They like none of that shit. Those words, like when you say Activision and you say things like genre defining and brand new, none of that. None of that is gonna be the case. Like I don't see Activision doing anything creative. Like and I'll tell you why is because RIP. I wanted to do a show on Vince Zampella and his impact and how creative Activision was when he was there. Even though he just worked on primarily on Call of Duty, but like during that period is the same period where they had things like Guitar Hero and all these really interesting concepts. Activision doesn't do anything creative. They just make Call of Duty and then maybe a throwback of like what other game does Activision make besides Call of Duty and Overwatch?
No, fair enough. I think Call of Duty has kind of swamped them, but I think also was created specifically to be new, though, right?
But then again, when were they created? Was it before Amy Hood demanded her pound of flesh?
No, I think it was before that.
Exactly. Like none of that is like Phil Spencer made a statement. He said we will invest in that which is like what did he said something like we will put money where shit is working, where we're making money. So they're not a studio, like they're not a publisher that is interested in investing in new ideas. They're a studio that wants to double down on shit that works. Because that's the formula that who's this Bobby Kotick was about. Bobby Kotick was about doubling down. Like Bobby Kotick killed Guitar Hero after one or two failures. They killed it. Like it's not like it was dead. Like people were still interested in rhythm games, but he killed it after it made them hundreds of millions, probably billions.
Okay.
So they're not a studio, and again, I really do feel that a lot of the people that are in charge at Microsoft Games, a lot of the people from Activision Blizzard, it's a lot of executives from there, and the vision is the same, which is why Phil Spencer's speech was like that, to say we will focus on the shit that works, shit that doesn't work, too bad, or shit we're not gonna take a lot of chances. I'm not disputing that they'll take a chance on a new IP, but that IP will have a lot of elements that need to make it a Call of Duty seller type game.
Okay. Fair enough. Moving on. Just as I already wrote an article detailing what the Xbox Ally updates roadmap looks like in 2026, but we should see some of these new features sooner rather than later. Even if you're not an Xbox Ally owner, you should probably keep an eye on how development there is going. The Xbox Ally experience is essentially the next-gen Xbox experience too. I reported last year that the next Xbox will run more Windows, and that is still the plan. In partnership with AMD, the next Xbox will utilize the Windows 11 full screen experience with the Xbox PC app to deliver its console interface. Microsoft is working on major updates to the Xbox PC app to accommodate this, bringing it more closely in line with what the Xbox console players will expect when engaging with a device on their TV rather than at their desk. Do you know what's so interesting about that? Let me finish up. Where it diverges with a traditional PC is in its ability to actually run games compatible with Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. Microsoft announced that it's partnering with AMD to enable Xbox games on this PC-like device. Existing Xbox console users libraries will come forward with them to the new Xbox as Microsoft continues to commit to backward compatibility in a big way. What I think is interesting about this is that, like, if you purchase an Xbox, hybrid console,
Yeah.
basically the app is going to be available for you on your desktop anyway. So
That sounds classic Microsoft to me, dude. Like, the only difference, of course, is the fact that you're going to be able to play your Series X and X games with it. That, to Microsoft, that's enough of a selling point. Good luck to them,
basically,
man.
like, no, but yeah, basically, like, I could turn my, my PC just into the next Xbox. I just happen to play
So
the
the
Xbox.
only thing that they're gonna probably do, right, is that at launch, that Xbox Series X or the Xbox One, Series X and X, it's two things actually. If it's emulation, it'll probably come to PC. But if it's hardware, if like the core that enables you to play Xbox One and Series X games is a hardware-based feature,
I think it'll be hardware.
which again you can replicate on PC. PC hardware is so flexible, but
Which
is
is
why
why I
I
think
think
it'll be
it
hardware.
can
Because I
only
think
be-
if you go for PC emulation, I don't know if there will be legal problems there. But I think if you're actually making an Xbox, everyone can't say anything because it's technically an Xbox.
I suppose I would have to think about that.
It
Like, I
might, it
think
might
I'm
make it
gonna-
more expensive, maybe, because they probably would have wanted to
It
do
is.
to emulation. But the thing is that EA is going to be like, well, I mean, you got to pay us now, and everyone's going to be like,
But
"You
like
gotta- you
another
gotta
thing is
pay
this,
us."
is that I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think about the legalities about like how would that work?
Well, think about it.
So no,
though.
no, no.
Did
But
you
don't
say, didn't you
forget.
say the PlayStation is Linux, right?
Yeah, it runs on Linux. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do, and the fact that you can do all these things, or like, I mean, the Xbox is also Windows based, right? And you can go on Google,
Yes.
you can all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
You can really do these things on it, right? So I think the argument Xbox just says that, like, oh, it's already a PC. Like, what does
Yeah,
that
but
have to
like
do with
my thing is like I'm just curious because again, if the only way they can get around the fact that they name dropped AMD tells me that it's going to be a hardware related
Mhm.
thing. It's not a software emulation specifically. So their main selling point is that if you want to play Series X and S and Xbox One games, you're gonna need to get this their hybrid console.
Mhm.
That's the main selling point. Other than that, it's gonna be a PC.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah, I mean, I think this is on top fantastic. Like, I know some of you console losers like the idea of trapped ecosystems. I just can't fathom it. I'm sorry. It's just
But
I'm
but
all
my
about the
point is that
future.
like, okay, cool, fair enough. All I'm saying is that whatever they're trying to do, Steam is already doing it better. So like, I would rather get a Steam, a Steam machine
No,
because it's
why?
going to be way more affordable, way more accessible than get whatever they're making right now. Because it's going to cost it's not even going to cost, I'm sure, like, because I was even listening to the guys from Ryan McAfee from IGN and all those guys, they all literally saying that they're pretty sure it's going to be about 1,200 based. And then they were saying like just listen to what, who's this, Sarah Bond is saying, the fact that it's going to be a premium experience. It's going to be like the Rolls Royce of gaming, and I'm like, that's the problem. It's like Xbox is a brokey console. Sorry, I'm sorry to say, but like it's a console aimed at the everyman. It's for me. It's for a person that just wants a cheap way to get into gaming. Now you're gonna make it an ultra premium thing for the elite PC whatever people. So you're cutting out 90% of the people that actually played Xbox if you do that.
Okay, fair enough. I think when we talk about the elite, we forget that we're talking about you, Ushers.
Hmm?
When you mention elite, you forget that we're talking about you.
I'm a brokey, dude. I'm a brokey gamer. Like all my gaming stuff is cheap. My PC is literally, like I bought like a semi pre-built and then I added parts myself. Where I bought, like, for instance, what is it? Yeah, it's pre-owned or secondhand parts and whatever. And it took me forever to pay for my Xbox Series
Did it
X.
cost more than 1K?
What's that?
Your PC, did it cost more than 1K?
Way more than 1K, bro. Like,
But then but Xbox cost is gonna be 1K. So when you talk about like, oh, elite people, like, bro, like, you talk about yourself.
let me do the calculation. I'll tell you. Actually, I just want to
Like, you're talking
The
about
thing is,
yourself, bro.
in our money, like, we pay so much for this shit, Ty. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, how much do you pay for an Xbox Series console in your country?
Fuzzy says, I don't see how any of that is a bad thing. Yeah, I know. This is where the Xbox brain rot comes in, Fuzzy. Dudes are saying like, yo, we're gonna merge the ecosystems,
Okay, no. So
play your series consoles, and these people are like, oh, it sucks. It's like, what is this?
so
People forget that the consumers. That's the problem, Fuzzy. They forget that they're consumers, and they put fanboyism first and foremost before being a consumer.
my PC cost around 900 US.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, elite. So that's you on Xbox.
No, but that's not over 1,000. That's not 1,200.
No,
That's
but
a
like
huge
the Xbox Series console is probably gonna be 1,000.
Huh?
Like, how much is it gonna
No,
be?
it's gonna be anything. Everybody's saying it's gonna be up 1,000.
No, everyone was saying 1,000 before. Now they're saying up 1,000. Why?
Yeah, because the RAM. Don't forget, dude. Like, things
Oh
have
yeah,
changed.
the RAM is going up. Yeah,
The
but
RAM is
then
going
no, but
up.
I wouldn't say that. But that's not the same thing, because that means that your PC then would cost more than 1,000 now.
Well, yeah, if the RAM pricing was up, but I'm not gonna, like, I don't need to upgrade. I don't need to buy more RAM. I'm gonna have this PC for a very long time. So yeah, but when I bought it, was about but it was $899 actually. It was $899 US. So yeah. But like, with RAM pricing going up, it's not gonna be on 1,000. It's definitely gonna be 1,000 up.
Okay. Let's keep it moving. I'm told we should also see some new Xbox hardware this year. I suspect we'll finally see the Elite Controller Series S break cover in 2026, and perhaps even more controller revisions. I'm told Microsoft's next generation Xbox controllers all support direct to Wi-Fi connectivity, eliminating Bluetooth latency for cloud gaming scenarios. There's always the chance we'll see more Xbox branded OEM hardware taking advantage of the Xbox full screen experience on Windows, similar to the Xbox Ally. I've been working through some credible rumors that we could see an OEM Xbox PC in 2026, but time will tell whether or not that one pans out. What are your thoughts on an OEM Xbox from maybe like Asus coming out in 2026? Do you think do you think it causes confusion? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? What's the story?
I think, my man, like, can you cause more confusion as Xboxes have you already caused? Like, I mean, you've got everything is an Xbox, so yeah, why not do it? But
Fuzzy says, I
this is
just
the
bought an
thing.
Elite controller a few weeks ago, so I guarantee we will see a new one soon. Yeah.
So
Actually, before you talk about that, because the console is probably more, there's more detail going on there. What do you think the new Elite controllers would be like? Do you want it to have like haptic feedbacks like the PlayStation ones, and all
they're
the
gonna,
bells and whistles?
yeah, they're gonna say all the stuff that they say. They're gonna make them more friendly, like, for instance, to use with cloud, all that stuff. And of course, they're gonna have all the features, like, for instance, that you're finding. They're gonna have all the features that you're finding on the Rogue Ally X. That's what you're gonna get on those controllers.
Mm-hmm.
Gyro and all that stuff. That's what you're gonna get on those controllers, basically.
Okay, cool. And now the device. Do you think 2026? Do you think they should Asus should release, or somebody should release an Xbox hybrid? Sorry, an Xbox PC device in 2026?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, do you think it's good marketing? Do you think it's a bad idea?
Huh?
Yeah, do you think it's good? Do you think it's good, or do you think it's bad?
In what? Like, yeah, but then we have to be specific. In what terms?
Well, you tell me. Like, what do you think is good and what do you think is bad about it? If there's anything that's bad.
The thing is, like, Ty, like, if they are like shepherding themselves out of the console market. That's the best way to do it, is to say we're doing PC now, we're doing this and this and that. So they're going to have similar success with that if they brand it well. They've got a good relationship with Asus. If they brand it well, it will work. Look, if you asked me as a gamer, as a core console gamer, and who's into whatchamacallit, who used to be an Xbox guy, let's say now I was in a position where I needed to buy a PC, and Xbox and Asus were releasing an Xbox PC. You don't? I would be the first one to line up to go buy an Xbox PC, bro. Simply because of just how, especially if it's well designed, well made, the hardware is cool, and it's not overpriced. Definitely, I'd go for that.
Do you think it might cause brand confusion?
I think it's too late for that. Everything that Xbox has done has caused brand confusion. From the naming convention going back as far as the Xbox One, they've been doing that. So that is now part of their brand. Is like everything is mixed up, and it's worse because their marketing says everything is an Xbox. So, and they put Xboxes now on Hisense and all these. So it's too late for that. We've crossed that thing already.
Okay. Next, so I think this might be the final point. Where Xbox is seeing a success is Xbox PC. I'm told Microsoft may begin reporting its Xbox PC stats as part of Microsoft quarterlies, reflecting its growth. The addition of benefits in games like Fortnite, League of Legends, and Valorant has helped Xbox PC win itself an alternative audience to that of Steam, although organic support still seems to be a challenge for titles shipping outside of Game Pass. I guess, yeah, so that's the last point. So what do you think about the idea, the fact that Xbox is actually seeing growth in PC, and that's why they want to start reporting on it? Like, what are your thoughts overall?
That still doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's stupid. So yeah, I mean, like whatever they see on PC, they made 20 times that on console, but they didn't report on their console numbers. So that's a silly notion. Like what Microsoft reports on is, to me, very arbitrary. And again, like Microsoft as a corporation have very arbitrary ways of sort of like measuring success. To your point, like the margins that everybody talks about, it's like, what are they called? They call them internally accountability margins, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so how they report on success is not something that we can understand as people outside Microsoft. But logically, think about it, Ty. Like, there's no amount of Xbox PC success that they have now that they've not achieved with the Xbox One or the Series X, but they don't report on those numbers. Well, that makes no sense for me. That why all of a sudden they want to report on marginal PC numbers. Because
Well, I think the numbers will be a bit more of case of like how many people are playing on PC this year, how many people, because it won't be revenue focused. I doubt it, right? It'll just be how many people are playing. And if you think about it, as soon as they pivot to the new device, that's going to be a PC, right? So those are going to be included. But keep in mind, also be including Blizzard, and I don't know if they're going to include Steam
they said
players.
Xbox PC, which is specifically the stuff associated with the app.
I wouldn't be surprised if that also includes Blizzard's
They can't include anything that is outside of the Xbox PC app, if based on what Jays is saying, because he specifically said outside Steam.
Yeah, so Battle.net. They own
Sorry?
Battle.net.
But Battle.net just releases Blizzard games, so that's fine.
No, but it does, but it has millions of players in it, and it's Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Apparently, Battle.net is where Call of Duty players are primarily playing. Sorry,
Yeah, but
apparently
like
there's more players on Battle.net than on Steam.
But that's an Xbox platform.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that when they say Xbox PC, I wouldn't be surprised if Battle.net was included in that.
Yeah, definitely. They will include Battle.net. Absolutely. If they include Battle.net, then it makes sense why they would want to report on those, but not from the Xbox PC app.
But remember, the Xbox has been Xbox has been saying for some time now that the Xbox PC has been growing. Like for the last 4 or 5 years, they keep saying the Xbox PC is growing.
But Ty, listen to what I'm saying, right? Whatever growth that Xbox PC has it's not even a fraction of the sort of numbers that they have on Xbox Series X and the numbers that they had on Xbox One that they were not reporting on. You don't know. We don't. Microsoft has never published any number that we know of outside maybe a court hearing or whatever of Series X numbers out there. Same with Xbox One. Everyone is speculating and basing on this and that and whatever. They don't publish those numbers. So why would you, for instance, you don't publish the numbers of a console that's sold of 58 million according to everyone, except you guys. Why are you going to start reporting on?
Because I think people will compare it to PlayStation, right? But I think with Xbox PC app, it's an application now. So I think now you can
but it's competing against Steam. Those numbers are not nowhere near Steam.
No, but I don't think anyone's going to compare it to Steam.
But I mean, like the
but also to be clear, I don't think they're going to say like, we have 7 million users now, and now we have 8 million. I think what they actually just might do is say they're going to talk about the increases. So they'll say it might even be playtime. They might be like, hey, listen, because they do this with cloud as well. They say, hey, Xbox PC app, over 5 million people played in the first week, and then next, quarter be like, hey, thank you to 10 million. You could be like, hey, we over 500 new games were accessed via X. Like, it won't be the revenue. And I don't think it will be okay, now we have 20 million users kind of thing.
But they already do that though, right?
Yeah, but I think they want to get rid of the reporting consoles, right? So I think they're just going to say Xbox PC app now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is that like they already report like, those arbitrary sort of like very weird numbers, like people spent X amount of hours or there was a 20% increase in players and whatever, but not give you definitive numbers. What I'm saying to you is that they're never going to report like definitive numbers for PC if they were not reporting those definitive numbers for console, because they are far behind everyone. Like there's no if the reason they didn't report Xbox One numbers is because they thought that like they would be compared to Sony, why would they report numbers that are going to be so far below on every metric below Steam? Because regardless of how you cut the cake, at the end of the day, Steam has already cut that cake in that way. So you are still competing against them in some way or another. So why would they do that? So if they report on those numbers, it will be like, for instance, as you say, they'll skew them in this, like there's been a 5,000% increase in players in the first month and all that type of stuff, which no one really understands or cares about.
Yeah, no, true, fair. I get that. And that is the article from Xbox in 2026. I think we covered a lot of information there, actually. Thanks. Well done,
the
Jazz.
whole show. I think we're gonna park the con because I've got a thingy tomorrow. I'm going hiking tomorrow early morning, so I think let's park the conversation because the GTA conversation can go on or warrant another hour.
And ever. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And plus, GTA ain't coming out this year anyway, so who cares, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's coming out. From everything I've seen from Lil Jason, I don't think it is. But we did talk about it a little bit in the beginning of the show anyway. Sure. So, but thank you guys for joining us. Thanks, Fuzzy, for being a trooper and staying us throughout the show. And thanks to Raichi as well for being here on earlier. Always appreciate you guys. And funny enough, Ty, like I actually found something out that like the show actually gets, because I share it across different mediums. I share it on here and I share it on Facebook as well. And Facebook has actually got way more like
people interacting.
People not interacting, but like just watching the show. Or like
Oh, that's pretty cool then, yeah.
Yeah, like they're like I think I saw, I think the one I saw with the most was, it was quite sizable. It was like 500 people that actually interacted with the show plus. So I'm thinking actually that's something to consider, is to also look into, because remember Microsoft sold Mixer and its entire gaming thing, or didn't sell it, but it handed it off to Facebook. So there's a huge gaming community on Facebook as well. And it's even where I was with the with the Xbox group that I was part of. So that's something I'm also just gonna look into in the future, because there's a lot of other people outside Facebook that outside YouTube that are watching the show. So thanks to those people as well for joining us. Twitter, I don't think there's any traction. I don't even because it's hard to track Elon's busted up app as to how you're doing. But Taya, thank you for joining me. I know you had a podcast last week. Are you planning anything upcoming?
No, I'm gonna rest this weekend. I mean, unless I do something spontaneous, but right as of now, I'm just nothing's going down.
Please, if you're gonna do something, give me a little bit of like
Notice.
heads up, so that I can like prep and free up time and stuff like that there, and make sure that if I need to do something, I do a little bit earlier, ne?
Yeah,
So
we'll
I can
do
join
for sure.
But you guys had an awesome show. I did tune into Ty's stream last week, and they had an awesome show with Kenwell and Tony, ne?
Yeah. Ken showed up and Tony. It was pretty good. Yeah, you know, some good chats.
Oh, pretty awesome. So, guys, thanks for joining us. Like, subscribe, and if you can either tune in here, you can tune in on Twitter, or you can tune on Facebook. Always appreciate having you players with us. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys here next week, same time, same place. That said, peace.
Peace.